Oh, I mean,
he woke up. He was like, "Hey, I am here."
Everything that lives is designed to end.
all right,
We
so the
are
race
here,
is getting
too.
started.
Perpetually trapped in a never-ending spiral.
Right
of
here, it's
life
this
and
one.
death.
Yeah, so I mean, the real question is going to be,
Or some kind of
if you just were going to look at PBs,
I
you were going to
often
go,
think
the
about
world
the
is
God
black
who
and white,
blessed us with this
PBs are all that
cryptic
matter,
puzzle.
then this would be
And
over.
wonder
But
if we'll ever have the
PBs are
chance to
not
try.
that big a factor in the world of BlueMetal when you just smash PBs by 10 minutes. So, I'm honestly going to say that I think we're going to have to see a PB from BlueMetal in one of these two races here for him to beat Kanaris, but that I also think he's totally capable of doing so.
Yeah, the beauty of the double elimination format too is that anything can happen. Yeah, here you'll hear me again, knock on wood, but we have had tons of weird stuff happen this tournament. Top runners getting taken out. It's just completely unexpected for usually kind of unfortunate reasons, but that's not important. Do one of you guys want to talk about what I'm seeing here? What is going on with this game? I thought this was a beat 'em up.
All right, so the beginning section here is we're starting out in a shmup section here with the flight units. You're going to see both runners essentially just not doing a whole lot for the first minute and 45 seconds, which we're almost done with here. But then they're going to be trying to take out waves of enemies with bullets and a little bit of meleeing as fast as we can for about the first 4:20-ish of the game before we get to the main meat and potatoes, ground, swords, action sections.
7-8 down.
But we will see that transition in just a little bit here.
Both runners here intentionally taking damage. They're not messing up. They're trying to burn both their medium and large recoveries. For just a little bit of optimization, we have some buffs that were given in this opening prologue section, and we have to scroll past our recoveries in order to use them. So we might as well take some damage here while it doesn't cost any time.
Multiple surrounding enemy air units confirmed.
Alright, so now we're switching to a little bit of a different mode in the shmup. We go from the sort of classic shmup angle to a sort of twin stick mobile configuration here.
Sick, some Twin Peaks shooting here.
Mobile configuration is way more fun for the run too, because there's a lot actually in terms of aiming, your little thing that you can do to speed things up to kill guys off screen.
And you can notice how tense both of these runners are right now. Both of them almost doing exact movements between flicking the stick to come from exactly where the enemies are going to be coming from off screen, so that way they can kill them as quickly as possible.
Real quick,
Kanaris is saying in stream chat
no.
he is warmed up, he's ready to go.
Oh, giving him the taunt.
Oh.
Yeah, so I would honestly expect both these runners to finish the prologue within 1 or 2 seconds of each other. But actually to finish much faster. A lot of runners will be in the sort of higher 420s. I expect both really low 420s from both of these guys.
Yeah, so by the way, if you guys weren't able to tell, we are going to be watching chat. If you have questions, we'll be able to answer them. I believe this is loadless, right? Both
Yes.
runners should be running on loadless. So
definitely hit us up in the chat.
The timers are definitely going to be in loadless, and it's going to be more fair. Obviously, this is just very optimized to shmup, very quick. They're going to be taking out the enemies as quickly as possible. That's about all you can do. Nothing super exciting here, just optimized combat in the flight unit.
One thing to actually point out going into this perspective here on Kanaris' screen, he did get the 3 triangles, the blessed 3 triangles that Ectheus uses. Good luck. I don't know if BlueMetal found them, but both runners coming out of Crash here, 121 for Kanaris and 422 for BlueMetal.
Alright, so this is what the most of the game is going to look like, guys. We got 2B here, our android on the ground with her spinning swords.
Kanaris having a little bit of an easier time with some of those stubbies in the first wave there, but just a couple of seconds between these two runners here.
Guys, I'm very confused. They're killing enemies very, very quickly, and their swords are spinning wildly. Things are happening. I'm not comfortable. I'm confused. I'm a little bit upset. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah,
So
Shabu.
a lot of things happen like really, really quickly here in this opening couple 15 minutes or so. 14 and a half minutes, if you will. But the main move that we are going to be doing here is what's known as a damage glitch. A damage glitch is performed when you dash and then heavy attack just a couple frames after. So long as you have a short sword on your heavy attack, that damage will be multiplied by like 4.5 times the normal damage, which is amazing.
I see.
And you can really see how much we melt these bosses, as Kanaris takes a slight lead over BlueMetal out of Mark's one. We're going to see Kanaris also go for new strategies here on
the new strat. Oh, some spaghetti from Kanaris. BlueMetal going for the old strat.
Oh, BlueMetal going for the safer strats, slightly slower though. Kanaris is going to end up barely behind.
Yeah.
Lost a little bit of time there. That's unfortunate, but as we've said, this is going to be super close. It's going to be an incredibly close race. Every little bit is going to count. Kanaris is probably kicking himself over that, thinking he's going to get a little bit of free time save. He's probably practiced that, labbed that out for hours. Missing that is probably a little bit dicey for him.
We've seen him first try it in this
missing. BlueMetal did end up missing one of those damage glitches on the stubby there. We do need to be carefully paying attention to each of these runners' moves here in the opening prologue.
Is there any
did
other
have a
way?
better flyers? Holy crap!
Wow!
Starting the last wave of Silo 2 ever so slightly faster than Kanaris, and BlueMetal already at bridge skip. He's gonna scale it, no problems. Kanaris just a couple seconds behind BlueMetal.
Wow. Okay, can I explain something real quick?
Go for it.
All right, I'm going to do this very quickly, guys, going into auctioneer mode, being a little bit quick. So what happens in this game, the way we're going to end up going out of bounds a lot is because the walls are basically paper and we have a giant sword. We can cut through paper very, very quickly. If you don't understand me, I'm sorry. You can put the stream down to 0.5 speed. But basically, the cool thing about this game is that our attacks either launch us up or send us vertically. And so we're going to use that to gain extra height, more height than the devs probably thought we would get. And basically what we're going to be doing is getting over the invisible walls because they decided not to program that very well.
And we'll see that a couple more instances as well throughout the game, probably soon as well from both of these runners. But one thing to point out there is that on one of the very first waves in Silo 3, Kanaris did try for a God Laser, and he did actually end up getting a good number of them pretty quickly over BlueMetal.
This is neck and neck. They're going to be... Whew, it might come down to punches. I'm knocking on wood again. That's not someone at my door.
Ever so slightly faster than Kanaris.
Angle swag, BlueMetal going for safer strats.
Kanaris
going for the riskier strats, as he is known to do in most of his races in other games as well.
So
actually making up the lead there. Look at that.
Saving about 0.8 seconds, so not even a full second for a pretty difficult trick.
So BlueMetal still in the lead, but barely. Literally everything is going to matter. Little movement optimizations. Honestly, you guys know what I'm thinking, right? About time. I'm not going to say it. I've already said it once, and then I knocked on wood. But
no. We'll get there. We'll get there. So right now, Kanaris and BlueMetal both entering the Marks II fight. What you're going to see them do is they're sort of pre-firing these damage glitches here, because their spinning swords will actually stay out in the air. And so as the spinning arm comes by, they're going to hit it with 2 of them, and then they're going to get as much damage as they can at the end here so that they don't need to buff. Most new runners especially will be buffing on this section.
Kanaris actually fumbled on the damage glitches that he did on the very first bit of Marks II there. He ended up perfect evading, causing the boss to move a little bit slower than he wanted to, so that puts him a couple more seconds behind BlueMetal here. But now that we're on this big boy...
Alright, can I take a little bit of time to explain the rest of combat here? So we already talked about the most important part of combat, which is the damage glitch, the dash heavy, the spinning swords that you're seeing there. But you're also going to be seeing, you see these 3 lines that are above the pod that's normally shooting lasers on BlueMetal's screen here. That is what we call pod slow-mo. So when we hold the charge for our pod program, it slows down the rest of the world besides 2B, and we're going to use that to hold all sorts of enemies in place so that they can't escape our spinning swords. And we're also going to do, not quite on this boss, but on almost every enemy of the game, we're going to flash our light on and off as fast as we can. Both these runners, I believe, have 2 buttons assigned to toggle light, so they can mash it as fast as possible. So we piss off the enemies, we'll get this nice red outline, and that's called taunting, and it makes them both deal and receive 50% extra damage. So when you combine all that together, you're throwing the spinning swords, you're doing the pod slow-mo, you're smashing light to taunt enemies, you have quite difficult and involved combat.
There is a lot to juggle when it comes to combat. Now,
Oh no!
oh no! Oh,
No! That's gonna sting.
oh!
So guys, that is a 23-second time loss on BlueMetal's side. All of Angle's
23
range
seconds.
attacks are fast.
More than
but
23.
More than 23?
It's 26, isn't it? Because
No,
Kanaris
it's
got.
23.
It's 23.
Is it 23? I'm crazy.
Misinformation!
So it's 23 seconds, guys. Shabu is trying to
I'm
mess me
spreading
up here,
false
but
news.
I'm in my lane. Kanaris choosing to get
Taking
up on this pipe.
The correct pipe. Left
The-
pipe is the best pipe.
So we have some disagreement among commentary here. Does anyone know? I believe BlueMetal is a no piper.
He's a no piper.
So we're all in agreement that that is the wrong pipe.
Yeah, that's definitely. You can't be the Swiss in this situation.
A sin. Not choosing a pipe is not an option.
Myth, you're a left piper, right?
I'm a left piper.
I'm just saying, all the all the old ones, the person who led the right pipe revolution was Fullest, and he was a left piper. The only reason he did right pipe was to spite the left pipers. I'm just saying, the person who made the trick went left pipe. I think that's the right way to go.
Anyway, guys, coming to
World
the
record
end of
has
an
left
auto
pipe.
scroller. We're coming to the end of an auto scroller section, so the only thing that could gain or lose time on that section was that 23-second time loss that BlueMetal got. But now we are right back into the action.
And we're gonna see an interesting interaction here on Kanaris' screen. He's actually gonna miss it. So
World record
what
holder.
he was looking to do there was actually have 2B go up the stairs in such a way that he lifts and performs another lift by resetting his jump count when he moves up the slope. That's what's called a double lift as we quickly transition here into what's called ninjas.
Blue
Very
getting
getting fast from
very
Kanaris.
fast.
Holy.
Kanaris made another small mistake in the ladder. Do you guys think he's nervous? I think he could be nervous.
He could
I mean,
be
he
nervous,
might be.
but he could also just be a little bit nerve-wracked at the moment. BlueMetal's not having much luck on some of these.
Oh
of these
no,
here.
he's gonna lose some time there as well. I think, Kanaris is probably unhappy with the fact that he's missed a couple tricks already, and Blue is probably unhappy that he got punches. So this part is another just kind of time section. This does have some RNG, as with punches. You can actually lose a bit of time here. You're waiting for 2B to say, shut up.
Yeah,
And once you
whoa.
hear shut up, then you're going to want Angles to throw out a punch immediately.
So there's something that we also need to mention here. Normally not a very difficult section. However, earlier in the tournament, world record holder Kanaris did take a death on this section. Dying on this section loses 14 minutes. And Kanaris has remained on low HP here. So potentially he can try and manipulate Angles by taking damage. Okay, he's avoided it, but we have seen in this race, we have seen a 14-minute losing death on this section.
It looks like Kanaris got pretty good RNG there. Should we change the audio?
I think we should.
Kanaris getting ending W skip, as chat I'm sure will point out. Ending W being if you die in the flight unit.
By the way, Litz, Kanaris got perfect RNG. Blue got punches.
Alright, so we're coming to the end of prologue here from Kanaris, a 14-18 prologue. Wow,
Whoa.
decent decent by Kanaris standards is quite quick by all mortal standards.
That is incredibly fast. The world record for prologue is just a hair over 14 minutes.
Is it 14 flat or 1401?
1401.
Okay. Very close
But it
to
is
14. That's so
Incredibly
exciting.
fast still. I think the fastest that I've ever done is 1427.
All right, we're coming up on one of my favorite parts of the game. Menu percent. Let's go. Let's get hyped for menu percent. We're about to look at some menus. Woo! Basically, what we're doing here is we're just we're going through our boot up sequences. As we are androids, we have stuff to change. We're gonna change the volume. We're gonna turn on SD. We're gonna all that garbage, and basically, oh, perfect from Kanaris. I would expect nothing less. Let's see how BlueMetal does on it, because this is really what I should be talking about. I want to focus on menu percent because it's important and wowzers, it's exciting.
It's a little bit of a roller coaster too, because I know personally you kind of have to know at what points you need to be mashing what buttons, and if you mash incorrectly, then you can easily lose seconds of time.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was 14 flat. Prologue.
Kanaris, right. As always, going for the manipulation there on 9S to get him to basically appear out of nowhere right next to him, next to the transporters. That saves him a little bit of time because he can dialogue cancel through the dialogue that exists in front of the save points.
How does that dialogue cancel work? Because we're going to be using it a lot.
Alright, so we're going to be seeing a lot of these in the run like you mentioned, but we talk to 9S to bring up his dialogue. You see Blue doing it right there. And then we have a little bit of ability to still walk while we're talking to 9S. And we're going to walk into another dialogue trigger, one of these walking and talking, slow walk dialogues. And the two will actually cancel each other out. Well, it'll cancel us out of the 9S dialogue, and we won't have the new dialogue. Look out for some bigger time saves later in the run. We'll point them out to you guys. But that partner dialogue cancel comes up in a lot of different places, 3 or 4, I think.
Okay, so now that Kanaris is back into a shoot-'em-up section here, we're really just trying to clear out these waves as quickly as we possibly can. Trying not to get hit too many times, but I'm pretty sure at the end of this shmup section, Kanaris might be able to try cutscene skip.
Dude, Kanaris going for marbles. Wonderfully named. Strat where you just spaz out.
Yeah, so it's what you're technically doing for that is you're flicking the right stick up and down very, very quickly, and it basically hits different angles, and it hits a kind of 45-degree angle up, 45-degree angle down, and a straight line forward, and that's exactly where the enemies spawn, and it can save a little bit of time if it's done perfectly. And Marble, thank you, Marble, for naming it the strat.
So, Kanaris landing from this shmup, and he's going to be doing, he was doing some in the bunker as well, but a new form of movement that we have at the end of Prologue. Now that we have no sword on our light attack, we can do these dash punches to be just a little bit faster. So we'll cancel the end of our dashes with a punch, and then cancel that punch with another dash.
Kanaris not saving a half second on canceling this cutscene outside of the, or exiting the flight units, nor does BlueMetal either, but very small optimization there. We also see a very quick jump reset off of the barricade of that fallen overpass that we can use to quickly climb over the barricade effortlessly as well. Kanaris dash punching into that cutscene
to avoid walking.
Yeah, so almost every cutscene has a little zone ahead of it where if you just touch that, you will have to slow walk into the cutscene and lose a couple of seconds. So what you're going to see these runners do is before every one of these that they can, they're going to try to do some piece of movement, try and do an attack with their sword or even just a punch to try to force their way straight through that walking zone into the cutscene.
One thing that's interesting about this section here is the amount of mashing that's required on the player is actually really intense, but one thing that Kanaris sets up for is to actually, while he's mashing, is to turn the camera so that way it stops turning as he's mashing, which is sort of an interesting observation because most runners don't actually do that.
Good to hear. Say, how's the weather?
Yeah, another thing that you'll often see top runners do is change the camera, because if you have an enemy in your camera, it'll often automatically lock on and put you in that direction when you do an attack. And since we do use attacks for movement a lot, you'll be seeing use of camera manipulation pretty often.
Alright, so both these runners here are completing some fetch quests that we have to do before we can proceed on with the story of the game. It's a little bit deceptive how difficult this section Kanaris is doing can be. There's a couple of things that can go wrong between the enemies just not dropping their items in ways that are very easy to see.
Misplaced one. Oh,
Yes, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah, sometimes you can lose track of where the enemies will drop the items, or sometimes you can get trolled and have the item drop on top of that rock or even inside.
Blue, if he does this well, he could gain a little bit of time on Kanaris here. It's not a whole lot, but if he doesn't misplace his items.
So no, I don't think they're a pain.
BlueMetal did actually have to end up killing an extra one over Kanaris in that little pod there. Not entirely that much of a time loss, but still a time loss nonetheless. Kanaris quickly mashing through these sections, and surprisingly, that dash swing on the mysterious lady in the resistance camp is quite tough to get using the pathing that Kanaris takes. You will see a little bit of a difference between some of the paths that these runners do end up taking. Kanaris is a lot more practiced in some of these early sections, and almost is on like an autopilot in some cases that we've seen on stream.
He's definitely gone to the wrong place before.
So I would expect a lot of the time tip, guys, it's not going to be between, you know, major failures or someone loses 60 seconds on a trick. You're going to see a lot of just little differences in beelines, little optimizations in combats. That's a lot of what makes the difference in NieR, because we do not have large game-breaking glitches. We have lots of little optimizations.
Or you could get really unlucky, and
or you can soft lock
and lose your 5-second lead that you have.
Yeah, you can also soft block.
Blue would be 5 seconds ahead right now if he didn't get punches, which is really, really unfortunate. It's like one of the only things of RNG, and that honestly, that's heartbreaking.
The only large single piece of RNG in the run. There's lots of little. There's honestly not that many little things, but there are some little things in different fights, and in terms of materials drops potentially.
In A ending, that is.
In A ending.
Yeah, I mean, Myth.
Well,
we're commentating A ending. Get your E ending propaganda out of here. If you're talking about A to Z, though.
Propaganda. Hold on, boy.
All right,
hold on. I'm tabling this discussion for Grun because we got some out of bounds coming on Kanaris'
I was going to ask Myth if he could actually explain that.
Surprisingly, the clip out on the transporter that Kanaris had just done, and we'll see in just a split second from BlueMetal, that's a really easy clip out, and using the angle of the building up against the transporter makes it quite easy to do. But we did end up picking up a couple items from the desert trader. Those items will be important later on, and one of them will be equipping later, but primarily it's just healing items, an animal bait, and some offensive buffs. Kanaris is also clipped out next to the desert barricade, quickly making his way through the tunnel here, and dash swinging a lot. I'm very proud of Kanaris dash swinging through there. You can easily clip back in bounds because of the auto lock on some of those enemies in the tunnel. And Kanaris is also going to be looking to do some optimal sand slides here. He knows this. He knows this pathing like the back of his hand. BlueMetal, we'll see if he goes for a similar strategy. Also dash swinging on the out of bounds there. It's very risky and very tough to do in some cases.
Blue really looking like he's trying to get every little bit of time back that he can. Throwing in dash swinging.
These sand slides are deceptively fast. I know some of the times it might look like it might not be faster than the dash swinging, but they really are. They can save a lot of time if you do them well.
We've got enemies approaching.
And these guys have labbed this stuff out to death, ladies and gentlemen. Super optimized movement here. You're going to be seeing beelines. You're going to be seeing how fast you can go. You're going to be getting all sorts of tasty movement here.
Getting all sorts of sand in our boots.
Man, I'm great at commentary.
Coming
up on a very interesting trick here. Stupid Rock TM named by the illustrious Fullest, who unfortunately can't be here. Oh, baby, that was
a good.
That was an amazing stupid rock. That was the stupidest rock I've seen in a long time.
Shout out to one of the most legendary, amazing runners to ever touch this game, finding that trick.
That would
His
be
name?
Shabu himself.
Shabu.
For anyone running or wondering.
Blue
Wow,
getting a
that was an
pretty great one
amazing
too. Wow.
Trick is deceptively hard, guys. Don Burrows, the little robot here, can really mess with your timing and make it hard to focus on getting a good angle.
Wow, BlueMetal almost jumped off the cliff before getting the cutscene.
Wow. Not getting the miss slide.
But very quickly here, Kanaris is clipped out of the desert housing area, and he's making his way out to the Atom Pit. He doesn't care about the other cutscene triggers. What he's interested in is making that plunge down to the solid ground here, and he's only interested in getting this final trigger here at the very end, closest to the Atom Pit. He swings out to grab the trigger and plunges down, missing the platform, but also still getting the required trigger from the platform, saving a good amount of time. And he's going to open up his menu to equip a secondary sword on his heavy slot. That'll make it so he can throw out a damage glitch and swap his weapon set to throw out another damage glitch, effectively doubling our DPS.
All right, do you mind if I explain something right
after?
Platform
list for Blue.
Go ahead, Shabu.
All right, so I'm going to explain something very, very quickly. We're going back into auctioneer mode, so sorry. But basically what we're going to be doing here is just very clean combat. So while that's going on, I'm going to take that chance to explain how the out-of-bounds work in this game. We're going to be going out-of-bounds a lot. As I said, the walls are not the best. But unfortunately, there are some pretty hard programmed triggers. And so what we're going to be doing is navigating out-of-bounds, picking up triggers where we're not supposed to, then going other triggers, skipping unnecessary triggers, stuff like that, but picking up the necessary triggers while we're out of bounds. That's what mainly our movement out of bounds is going to be, is getting those triggers and then going to another trigger and doing that very, very quickly.
One thing to point out here on the combat in the Atom Pit is that both runners are using the slow-mo to the best of their abilities to really make that section where we can just kill as many bots as we possibly can.
Yeah, this is where we finally get to see full combat. We get both our damage glitches, we get our taunts, we get our slow-mo. You really have to use all the tricks available to you to try to... Kanaris failing. So if you use all the tools available to you and you can damage Adam here fast enough, you can actually skip that sword dodge cutscene. And you can do that.
Kanaris' damage glitches got eaten by a perfect dodge.
Let's see if Blue can get it himself. You can actually, this fight can have a really huge amount of variance depending on how quickly you're able to kill Adam, and some of that has to do with what attack he does, and some of it is just how clean you can do your combat.
Oh, BlueMetal not getting sword dodge either. But Kanaris also is showing a good amount of optimization in here as well. When Adam teleports down from his top position down back to the floor, one thing that Kanaris aims to do is actually dash backwards to the back of the arena behind him, so that way Adam spawns in front of him, because Adam doesn't want to be close to you when he spawns in. So he immediately knows where Adam is going to be spawning just by that alone, and he knows that he can just immediately go into damaging the boss down, as Kanaris now makes his way out of Atom Pit with BlueMetal hot on his heels, but still looking to slip some time here between the two.
Kanaris is level 8.
Once Kanaris gets ramped up, he gets going, man. Like, he is crazy fast here, ladies and gentlemen. And so we go into Swag Box.
Very nice.
Skip.
Both runners implementing the new use of pod slow-mo in that escape section to prevent the platforms from falling away from him.
That is super handy.
I would like to point out,
super good.
I'd really like to point out something real quick. First of all, we're going to do a save scum here. Remember how we picked up that save point earlier? We're going to just be using that, saving a little bit of time there because we are running loadless. Wonderful. I love it. But I'd like to point out that Kanaris is level 8 out of Pit.
That's really high. Usually a good marker is 8 on the roller coaster before the next boss. And honestly, being 7 going into the next boss is totally fine and pretty common. The Atom Pit was really good for Kanaris.
Speaking of, I wonder if he's going to go for roller coaster.
He has to.
he will.
Both of these guys have to go for roller coaster. I'm not going
Does
to
Blue
lie.
have to? I don't. Is Blue? Do you guys know? Is Blue a roller coaster?
Blue
Honestly,
has
they're
been practicing his roller coaster.
I
What
think
he
that-
hasn't been practicing is his Virtuous Contract level 3.
I think
Okay.
that what I'm thinking is that if one of these players goes for roller coaster and gets it, then the other player, like both have to go for it. Because if you're assuming that one goes for it and gets it, then you're at a huge disadvantage.
Target location confirmed. I'm worried about the
So,
Because of the
guys-
movement tech that we get out of the roller coaster trick that we're alluding to,
Wow.
it's almost a deal breaker between these two runners here. If one of them gets it and one of them catastrophically doesn't get it, then that'll be a huge time loss. And it is a very finicky trick as well. So we'll have to see how these guys do getting out of there. Kanaris also actually managing to skip
that
over
was-
the discovery cutscene with a single lift, which is super
Wow.
impressive because I could never do that.
Oh, that was so close. I didn't think he was making it over that.
No, he knows exactly how much height he needs to get over that, and it is amazing.
Can I say this movement? Kanaris' movement is insane.
That insane
He's
pace.
so fast.
So as
So
Kanaris
we're out
here,
of bounds. Jesus Christ, guys.
We all want to talk about this.
we all love Let's Play Skip. So Kanaris is doing what we know as Let's Play Skip into Auto Scroller Coaster Skip. The combination of this is sort of the version 3 of this, where we go out of bounds to skip a cutscene, and then we hit an incredibly precise series of triggers here, so that we can get the coaster to come. And
Come on.
ideally, let's see, not be stuck on it. No! So Kanaris has failed auto-scroller coaster skip, guys. So what he was trying to do was clip off the coaster there to send it off without him on it. But he is not only stuck on it, but he has not grabbed all the required triggers to correctly proceed to the next section of the game.
Okay,
Let's
but
see if
guys,
Blue
you
can
guys-
do it.
BlueMetal also going
Guys.
up onto the tracks here.
Oh my gosh, okay, so this is super important. If Blue gets this, that puts him at a huge advantage, and all that time that he's lost, everything that has been unfortunate for him in this run will be not entirely undone. He'll still have to play very, very well, but he is going to be at a huge advantage. This levels the playing field considerably if he gets it.
No! Blue misses it too! See, this is what I'm saying. You do not have to go for this trick. This is the most difficult trick in the run.
You have to
And
go for
you-
this trick at this level, game. Don't tell me that. You
Wait,
have to
do
go
you
for
know
this
how
trick at
much
this
time
level.
Blue would have saved if he just went for normal Let's Play?
Like 5 seconds. I don't
But
actually.
that,
What's the time? man?
unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, is playing safe, and both of these runners are not interested in
Not
playing
playing
safe. Both
safe.
of these runners want speed.
So
If you're at the top level, you can't be ignoring tricks like that, game.
So
just
they
saying.
both runners, if they had just ignored the trick, or if they'd done it correctly, should have already been at the Beauvoir fight. But they're actually back at the station, are gonna have to leave the coaster and go grab the required trigger.
So Kanaris actually did implement something there that I was talking to him about in actually going to the back wall of the coaster and making it out to the
Yeah, we'll
front
see
of the
if Blue
coaster to make it
knows.
out in time. And Kanaris did pick up all the triggers that were required, and he makes it into the final boss. Or into
Well,
the
not
boss.
quite the final boss
The
yet.
boss. of-
Not quite that big a wrong work.
I'm too excited. We'll see if BlueMetal also manages to escape the clutches of the roller coaster, but Kanaris is definitely in the lead here, but that did overall, in terms of comparison to PB, did put both of these runners behind PB pace.
So you see there in the first phase of this boss Beauvoir, Kanaris actually had to stop and stand still. That was not a mistake. This is a sort of speedrunner's bane of a boss, because if you go too fast on the initial section, Beauvoir can actually give you a different, slower attack. But we want to keep her as close to the stage as possible, and if she does the same attack that she always does the first time, she will always go right up there to the stage if you threshold her right when she starts it.
By the way, someone asked a question earlier. Someone said, "Is this the first run of the grand finals?" Yes, this is the first run. BlueMetal is on winner's side, Kanaris on loser's side. Kanaris has to beat BlueMetal to bring him down to losers, and then they have to race again. Or BlueMetal could just win.
Kanaris with
Oh,
new
no.
strats. Have you? Okay, guys. So we used to do this fight by running around and punching all the enemies, but we figured out on this first phase. Kanaris
6
getting
seconds.
hacked there. Each of these hacks is really difficult to see, and you lose 6 seconds off each one.
4 to
But we
6
can't
seconds,
slow
sorry.
down. So Kanaris using some lasers to try to, as quickly as possible, kill them on that first phase, and mixing in some dash swings in addition to punches when he needs to do long movement to get there. Let's see if Blue can get the same.
Oh, I think BlueMetal goes for a little bit of a different strategy there, but we did see
Yeah.
that Kanaris missed some of the bodies on his initial laser, which was a little unfortunate, and getting hacked too definitely
Oh,
puts
come on, Blue.
the margin a
No!
little closer, but BlueMetal
Ah.
also getting hacked.
Alright, so Kanaris ending the boss by SDing there. We're doing that
Wait,
so we can
game?
set up low health.
I
I know. Shabu's unhappy with me, because Shabu wants to troll
upset
the
with
chat.
you right now.
say,
Why do
But
you
no.
do that? Why are you so unfun? Come on, man.
Kanaris was doing that so that way,
Yeah,
crowd
I
pleaser.
usually say it's to set up movement tech. Whatever. He's setting up a death warp.
Thanks,
Kanaris-
Game Commander.
I'm no fun. I am the educational commentator here. He's setting up low health so we can do a death warp. He's got a medium recover actually. He would prefer to have a small recovery here so he
Wait,
can
why
still
did he
remain on
use
as low
that?
health as possible. He must have thought he had one.
He must have thought that he had a small recovery and
Oh,
could
no.
use
Or
it anyway.
so if
One
you
reason
have
is
if you have spear, it's better to use just any recovery no matter what. So he may be used. Kanaris has been restarting all of his runs that fail to get spear for a good long while. So I don't think we've seen him complete a non-spear.
Oh yeah, he has.
That could be a factor here, guys. So Kanaris, normally, if you succeed the auto-scroller coaster skip, you get a spear, which unlocks a new piece of movement tech. So Kanaris has, that's essentially been considered essential for his PB world record pace runs.
For sure.
So Kanaris could be potentially rusty on the old dash swinging movement in these sections where
I
he
think
normally
he
has
is
spear.
getting that pause right into Pascal's village there. Some of the movement might feel a little bit slower to Kanaris than he is used to, and that might actually play to BlueMetal's advantage here.
Do you mind if I point something out real quick, guys?
Go right ahead.
Bienvenue! Welcome to Pascal's Village. This is our new hub. We're going to be transporting here a lot. We're going to be turning in most of our quests here. We're going to be doing all sorts of fun stuff. So you're going to be seeing that lovable piece of cabbage. I hate him. He ruins your runs. Pascal, a lot. Give a big round of applause for Pascal. Please clap.
City ruins if we move that box.
So I like to call that the octopus. We basically just go through a very, very small point there just by plunging and then SDing if you have the health. If you don't, then you can just plunge through it. Just saves a little bit of time, triggering some dialogue a little bit earlier. Or actually later, I'm sorry. Triggers the dialogue later, but you can get to the boars a little bit earlier, and that sets up for boar hopping. Myth, you discovered it, you can say it. Why is Kanaris...
Why is Kanaris not hopping? Pinocchio.
Kanaris, what?
I'm going to call that intentionally spiting the commentators. If you have a
I
boar,
think
it is
Kanaris
faster.
Is trolling me.
It is faster, slightly faster, so that you can hop. Commentators love to explain boar hopping. Kanaris intentionally not boar hopping. So guys, we are all BlueMetal fans now. Nobody wants Kanaris to win anymore. He is no fun. Oh, I glide.
Are you saying you
All right, Myth,
Okay,
tell
so
me what you got.
Normally on Kanaris' screen there should have been a pop-up to say something about side quests or whatever, but we're not interested in that. What Kanaris was actually doing, he actually saved a second by dismounting the animal and skipping that prompt
what do you think?
simultaneously. We'll see if he can die and still get that
Now, do you
without
plan
the
on
prompt
attacking?
as well. But
Your
BlueMetal
mouth can say
also
anything it wants.
crowd pleaser
have a
with
heart.
the boar hopping. Kanaris paying for his sins and not dying quickly.
Feel free to visit our
Attempting to
village
get
whenever.
hit 3 times, not what he was looking for there. BlueMetal having a little more grace in this death warp here.
Honestly, I think it's too early to say that Kana has no fans. I want to believe. Help me believe, Kanaris. Show me something. He's
believe
got to
Kanaris
prove
has no
himself now,
fans.
but he's not wearing pants.
I don't know.
What's
What?
that noise?
Okay, so he's my favorite now.
This is an emergency transmission
The
from the bunker.
pantsless in
We're reading
grand finals.
the inside
What
the
else
city
could you
room,
ask for?
and it looks
So yeah, that was the death warp, by the way, guys. So it basically
Thank
just
you for
skips a lot
that
of
one.
stuff. Yeah. Instead of having a romp right now, I'm actually going to explain this in the most boring way possible. So basically, when you die, you get to keep all your items and quest progress. And
Wow, that's sick.
wow, so cool.
I'm so pumped
And so
that we get to have that cool piece of
we
movement
SD
tech.
to keep our health low, and then we kill ourselves with the animal, and it puts us back at Pascal's village. And we're gonna be
Education
doing
is
some
cool, Shabu.
We're gonna be doing
Education
some
is
sick,
cool.
We're gonna be doing some sick, tasty tricks right now. Remember how I said that the devs really hate walls and they do a horrible job with the walls? Yeah, there's actually just like a whole. Oh my god!
Oh, getting our big friend Angles here helping him out, just smacking Kanaris, going, "Why don't you have a spear?"
Big boy punch! My god!
Kanaris did not end up getting punches in prologue, but Engels will do his damnedest to punch Kanaris, no matter what.
Just a wallop to the face. But as I was saying, we've got a nice little part again. We've got a nice little octopus. 2B gonna really just that sound. The phrase I was gonna say. Anyway, there's a hole in the wall. We're gonna jump through. The way I was gonna say that was gonna sound real
There's a hole in the wall. Angles is watching 2B through a hole in the wall, Shabu.
No, it was. Let's drop it. So actually very precise angle. He's not going to get it. He's going to have to go for a double lift. Fortunately for us, the walls are pretty awful, so they're pretty short. So we just jump over it.
Kanaris is actually the master of not using the double lift there. He just uses a single lift.
Yeah,
Delayed lift. Yeah. All runners learn the delayed lift to do the very first big, hard, difficult trick in the run, which is bridge skip. Kanaris, one of the few to actually implement it later. The rest of us, lazy runners, just use nice, easy double lifts. That lose us 0.1 seconds.
Although in the matches like these, that is what it comes down to. Small little optimizations that Kanaris has in his head. He knows over BlueMetal.
You know, honestly, we've been talking about how optimized Kanaris is. How optimized Kanaris is. But BlueMetal, gaining time.
Yep. Let's see Kanaris getting a nice quick kill there, nestling right up into Daddy Angle's shoulders and just giving him a little bit of pod program love. Spreads out in a circle and goes all the way. Angles just, hugs it all up. BlueMetal, nice and quick.
Shoot a lot of loads on his thigh, and he dies. Sorry.
That's inappropriate.
Optimized movement.
The children's stream here, Shabu.
Guys.
Is this stream PG-13?
Not anymore.
Don't get speed gaming banned.
You guys are the ones who are making it weird.
So Kanaris plunging down into an area we're going to call negotiations and activating our good friend Skype glitch, which is why we use Discord here on Speed Gaming. But Skype glitch triggers and means whenever we get these wonderful Skype calls from our commander, we're going to be able to skip the little jingle in the beginning and save a couple of seconds.
I don't know. There's nothing like it in the database.
Yeah, Commander doesn't like it when you hang up on her, so she will stay on the phone and listen to all your calls and make it so that the ringing doesn't happen.
Just like Comcast.
Myth, I like the way you explain this the most. So please, some crazy stuff's about to go down. Can you give me the deets? Can you just push on the down low?
So Alan and Steve here, they want to give us a story about some humans and what their interests are and what our interests are, but we don't really want to hear that. Unfortunately, this is A ending, so we're not able to skip this, but we're just going to fight Alan and Steve in this section. Fortunately, Kanaris showing off some mad slow-mo skills here.
I love seeing this combat here. This is the best way to see how good their combat is.
It's always satisfying to take a look at how quickly these runners take care of Alan and Steve in this section. But one thing is, we just saw Kanaris escape the arena there off of one of Steve's attacks. That actually will allow us to completely exit the alien mothership here and attempt to clear out this tunnel here. Although one thing we do want to keep an eye out for is Kanaris is picking up some world drop items. And I think Kanaris is going to try for Kanaris is going to try for Virtuous Contract level 3. He does need a good number of materials on his person in order to qualify for that RNG. But
if I could, sorry, if I could say something.
Sure.
Virtuous Contract is the light sword that we have on our back that we use for double damage glitch or damage glitch, by the way, guys. So Virtuous Contract, you can upgrade it. We upgrade it to level 2 at the beginning. What Kanaris is doing is picking up world drops to get to VC3. VC3 is Virtuous Contract level 3. It's just an upgrade. I'm just explaining that. He probably thinks he needs to get it because he doesn't have the spear.
Back this way again?
And so it's generally better to pick up those items anyway, because you can never have too many dented plates or severed cables.
Well, and there's an interesting thing to point out where these runners may or may not, we saw Kanaris talking in stream chat, they may or may not still have or have ever had the stream open. We've seen in races before where runners had no idea how close the race was, where we've also seen runners like Fullest actively monitoring their opponent. So there's an interesting dynamic there where, you know, perhaps BlueMetal, you know, believes he's racing against a fully speared, you know, full time save Kanaris.
I'd like to think that both of them are in the dark. Perhaps Kanaris is actually looking into chat quite often, but
he may just have chat open. He may not. He may not have the stream going.
You never know. Oh my god! So one thing that Kanaris is doing here.
Oh, missing a partner dialogue cancel. We told you it would come back, guys, but Kanaris proving us wrong and just missing it.
Come on, Blue. Come on, Blue. Every chance you get, every chance you get, every breath you take.
So, SD
I'll be watching you.
We use all over the run, and here Kanaris was attempting to use it to halt his momentum and stand still, but he went just a little bit too far forward. SD is a wonderful move. We can explode to get our health low. We can give ourselves another heavy to get more height. We can freeze in place. We can gain downwards momentum. And even surprisingly, Remote Mind figured out it has an intended purpose, which is damage. But we don't do that too much.
We'll only see that at the end of this run. But we did actually see BlueMetal execute that dialogue skip properly up at the top of that elevator. Now, Kanaris is making his shopping trip here. He is selling his small buffs and some of his system chips as well to make some space in his inventory. He had a little bit of a flub selling those machine cores there, but Kanaris, the god, opting to not go for defensive buffs, my man. We're also going to see Kanaris equip some of his chips there, a critical up +0. That was a diamond and a couple shockwaves from what it looked like as well. Very quickly here, Kanaris is going to go for, I think that was a single lift even, for Mumskip.
Oh,
getting the aerial dash swing as well.
Hi.
Just for the extra swag. We'll see if he can pull that off as well later on, but very swaggy from Kanaris there. We'll see what chips BlueMetal has. I don't know if he equips now or if he equips later, but Kanaris does have a critical +0.
And you should work on keeping your opinions in check.
Oh my gosh.
Opting to go for the double lift on Mumskip, a little bit slower than just doing the delayed lift that Kanaris does, but ever so slightly slower than Kanaris' attempt there.
I'd like to point out that this movement across these rocks is highly optimized by, well, the guy on the left. As you could probably guess, he's world record holder for a reason, folks. But both of them going for an optimal route there along those rocks, and they're actually very close. This race is honestly very close, especially since Blue got punches. That has been the bane of his run so far, and did either one get VC3? I don't think Blue did. And I don't think
I think Kanaris took the split second when he was selling his machine cores to check if he had the materials for them. Unfortunately, Kanaris was running in Japanese, so I can't decipher that. But he probably made the right call in not attempting to talk with the weapons trader.
So, speaking of running in Japanese is actually faster real time, but not actually faster in loadless, which we're running. Kanaris doing it just to save himself some real time, and because he was already used to it from beforehand. But you'll see plenty of runners still running in English and not losing any time because of it.
You'll see a lot of the old runners run in Japanese because we ran back when RTA was a thing, and you just don't really kick the habit, I guess.
It's also a little bit of that weeaboo factor going on.
Well, to some degree. Because the thing is that Japanese voices for this game are actually quite slow in comparison to the English dub. So
Like,
a lot more emotion and sort of, I guess, character to the Japanese voices definitely comes over in the Japanese voices over the English. So that's why we run in English.
Blue had no offensive chips.
Oh, Blue had no offensive.
Oof. That's rough.
So Kanaris is in the middle of one of my favorite, of failing one of my favorite tricks in the run. This is Rainbow Road, guys. It skips an old trick known as Mario Kart, and we're just going to use a lot, but not all of our available movement. We have so much movement in this game to do just this nice long jump up and over and skipping, going around, getting a cutscene. Kanaris tries to optimize it with some use of SD to cancel stuff early, and he choked a little bit the first time.
That was Kanaris' second attempt at Rainbow Road, as we call it. But I'm not too big of a fan of a pod launch during that long jump. We'll see if BlueMetal is also able to cross the chasm here.
I'd like to point out that on Kanaris' screen, one of the most flashy tricks in the game, we go out of bounds and then we climb up those windows, which you can't actually get to inside, so for some reason they have collision, and we, bless the devs for giving us collision on those windows so that we can skip the entire castle.
Yeah, you'll see Blue doing it too, clipping right out on that route, after a beautiful save at the end of Rainbow Road there, where he almost slippity-slid right on down.
Things are moving really quickly here. Kanaris is about to go into the A2 fight, and BlueMetal just narrowly climbing up the castle here. We're really going to see Kanaris' optimization on the A2 fight here because he's really hoping that A2 doesn't give him too many dash attacks as he damages down the boss, but a little bit of a flub there in the first little section. Second dash coming out of A2. We'll see if Kanaris is able to keep her in place. They're having a little bit of difficulty.
Having a hard time. Come on, Blue.
Getting a nice crit here right at the end.
Good couple crits
big
there.
Flashy animation. That's going to be a big advantage for Kanaris over Blue to have those crits.
Yeah, I think he also had. I think he had weapon attack ups.
So
it's like it might be ranged attack ups.
So critical hits. Have we played critical hits yet? I don't think
we have.
So critical hits, guys. Each level of crit is going to give 1% crit chance. So crit plus 2 would give 3%. But crits actually don't do 2 times damage like they do in a lot of games. They do 5 times damage. So crits are hugely efficient for damage. They're what the runners are all looking for. And a couple of lucky crits in key spots can really speed up certain fights.
They are weapon attack ups, by the way. Chad is confirming they're weapon attack ups that Kanaris got.
Weapon attack ups.
I'm taking a look here at BlueMetal's combat on A2 here, and he's really struggling, unfortunately.
Yeah.
A2 got stuck in a really long combo animation there. Unfortunately, BlueMetal was able to threshold her, but not quite fast enough in order to transition her into the very end of that fight. But still, overall, fairly decent, but he did mess up on a couple perfect dodges at the very beginning of that fight, putting him a little bit slower behind Kanaris here.
Dude, poor Blue is just getting very, very messed up by the enemy attack patterns this run. Oh man, best part coming up.
Machines are the enemy. Don't forget it. Oh, it's so serious.
Myth, do you want to talk about Blooded? Because I don't want to.
Yeah, sure. So very quickly there, we had seen on Kanaris' screen, he talked with an enemy, but he also jumped onto a box. That box put him at the very back end of the resistance camp, and in doing so, he can actually plunge down to the flooded city and grab the discovery cutscene. As he goes underneath one of the buildings, he falls to the bottom of the map, and it actually respawns him up at the resistance camp. That allows him to plunge to the back end of the flooded city area and actually make it directly to the area that he needs to be in the flooded city, saving him, I believe it's like a minute.
Did you see those crits on Chicken Boy?
I did not, but
wow, he melted
Kanaris'
that.
crits are looking pretty lucky here, despite only being a +0. Normally,
Getting a little bit of struggle on the flyer there.
Yeah, I believe the flyer has been referred to as free.
Oh my gosh!
Discard community.
He's
So we are seeing how not free the
he's
flyer
getting-
is.
Okay, the flyer is free. Sorry.
Oh yeah, look how free this flyer is right now, guys. Everyone in chat, look how free. Kanaris, world record holder, losing a large amount of time to one flying boy.
What would win? World record holder or a free flying
Well,
boy?
what I think it really is, Shabu, is that Kanaris just really does not want to enter this next section. Everyone's favorite section of the run. It is our friend, Mr. Carl? Carl's his name? What's his name,
yeah,
guys?
Carl Grun.
Is it?
I forget what his full name is.
I
So-
thought it was different.
So Grun begins.
Where was it posted? Was it posted in spin posting?
Go ahead and give it a
It's
Wikipedia
Klaus.
real quick for me.
Klaus
Klaus Grun.
Klaus.
But so it starts off with a short shmup section where you actually can affect things a little bit. So the shmup, while not our favorite, is not too bad. But really quickly here, guys, we are going to enter a 14-minute long auto scroller where we are stuck in our flight unit, and the only way to gain or lose time really is on the RNG of spinning cores. So it combines everything speedrunners love, which is auto scrollers with little to no important gameplay and an RNG time loss.
I was wrong. It's Carl Theodor Grun.
Carl Theodor. So our good friend Carl Theodor. This is every commentator's favorite section of the run, every runner's favorite section of the run.
I like to just have a dialogue after we've explained everything and before the cores. I just like to have a nice chat. You know, first of all, I have to bring something up. Something that I bring up every time. If you've watched any of my other commentator runs, you know what's going on. I believe that the pot is still at 2,000. That is 2 with 3 zeros following it. US American dollars. If you find a usable Grun skip in any % new game. And I know there's also a curry pizza and a caffeinated alcoholic beverage. 2,000 real, not counterfeit, not fake, not Zimbabwe, not rupees. 2,000 real American dollars in your pocket, in your bank account, right when you find Grun skip. And then, you know, like a week or two later, you'll get an alcoholic caffeinated beverage if you're of age. And a curry pizza. And a wonderful curry pizza, courtesy of Techtheist, our resident alternate pizza, non-purist pizza experts. Looks like one of our commentators got so bored that he went to grab some water. He's already bored.
Not.
But, it was me. I was the bored one. No, I'm joking. But, we're just doing this boss fight. Honestly, this is super brainless. I'm going to be entirely honest with you. You just kind of throw out heavy attacks, and then when your pod program is off cooldown, you just spam pod program. It is worth noting that earlier in the run, right at the beginning of Desert, you saw both runners go out of their way to grab pod C. It's a ways out of our way in the desert, but this is one of the reasons. Grun is a major reason why we grab pod C. It helps speed up things like Goliath Flyer. We saw angles earlier, so it actually is overall worth it to grab it. I think Kanaris actually ended up losing time on that Goliath Flyer. It looks like he did. Either between his partner behavior or he buffed up late. It's freaking huge. Yeah. All right, so we are full on autoscroller mode. You can see the background. Our big friend Klaus Theodor, Teddy in the background. Yeah, just call him Teddy. Teddy
just
Ferdinand.
Teddy in the background
Teddy
here.
Ferdinand Grun.
Is shooting lasers in the wrong direction. 2B is not even over there, but he's gonna take like 10 more minutes to beat.
Unfortunately, Kanaris is not going to do the trick that I love doing, is despawning the enemies in this. And he heard me, and okay, thank God he didn't lose time.
Yeah, there's a very fun trick you can do where you go to the top right corner and it despawns this entire wave of enemies, and you can just chill. Go take a snack, go get some water, go to the bathroom. You know, whatever you want. In other news, Carl Theodor Ferdinand Grun, the boy that we're fighting now.
Can we read some facts about him?
Was a German journalist.
This is gonna be Carl Theodor
guys, excuse me.
Ferdinand the second stream now, guys.
He was a German journalist, political theorist, and socialist politician. He played a prominent role in radical political movements leading up to the Revolution of 1848 and participated in the revolution. He was an associate of Heinrich Heine, Ludwig Feuerbach, Pierre Joseph Proudhon, Karl Marx, who we saw earlier, and Mikhail Bakunin, as well as other radical political figures of the era. Fascinating stuff.
Alright, guys, and if any of you have seen any of my commentaries before, you're going to know that there's one thing that we have yet to do, and that Grun is controversial opinion time. So, you know, I actually didn't know that that Teddy here was a socialist, and I feel a little bit worse. I feel a lot worse about killing him now. I really don't think we should be killing socialists here, guys, so, you know, hashtag peace for Grun. Let Grun come to land. He's going to bring wonderful things to all of us.
Guys, come on.
Let's not get into politics. Also,
it's way too early in the afternoon to be talking about this.
Yeah.
Not during Grun, it's not.
Maybe later, but the thing about Grun is, you just haven't been running long enough, my friend. I'm sorry, invalidating your opinion. Just
yeah, what's your place on the leaderboard?
The strong arm in this argument.
I've never put a I pioneered A to Z. Don't talk to me.
Pioneered 12-hour pioneer, guys. Take it as long as the pioneers did to get from coast to coast to complete a category.
Before we had like half of the skips.
So you see, BlueMetal, as Kanaris has just done, fighting the cores here. You can get some bad rotation RNG where the cores just stay out of the plane where we can hit them. Kanaris getting good luck, and Blue getting it as well, so we're seeing some fast core fights from both of them. Fast enough, in fact, to put their times on the leaderboard.
I mean, I could put my time on the leaderboard. I've just chosen not to. I thought it was fun. A was never really my thing. I've also run a lot of stuff that wasn't. I just don't submit it. I don't know. Yeah, I did it for fun.
Shabu does actually have one wonderful time in an amazing category on the leaderboard. It's, in fact, it's a less than 10-minute category, so way faster than these runners.
Oh, I thought you were going to say A to Z.
Dude, macro's hard.
Dude, A to Z is amazing.
Thank you, Myth.
We're talking about the wonderful mackerel percent, guys. If any of you want a nice short category of this game, it's as fast as we can. We race to get an RNG fish and kill ourselves. Which
yeah, mackerel is the worst. Mackerel is the most
sounds like a fun day in real life to me.
No, it's the worst. But don't talk bad on it until you've run it. You don't understand how bad it actually is.
The power of the fish is.
It's actually the worst. I've run it over 200 times, like well over 200 times, and I've caught mackerel 3 times. Every time I start fishing at 7 minutes and 30 seconds, which is a nearly it's great. That's with a sub 420 shmup and then fantastic movement. Never catch a mackerel.
Yeah, Shabu, have you had any interest in trying what our wonderful friend Litz in the chat has told us about, which is fishing percent? The amazing category where you wait for RNG fish to catch every fish in the game.
Honestly, my RNG in this game has always been horrible. I lost 30 or 40 minutes on Iron Pipe in A to Z one time. And I've lost like 30 or 40 minutes on Emil.
Myth knows a thing or two about good Iron Pipe RNG, if my memory is correct.
I don't know.
I've seen a
think
number
just
of first
beginners
try iron pipes on Ethereum streams.
I don't like to talk about my RNG.
You don't want to jinx it?
She's a cruel mistress.
Alright, Tech.
She's nice to me on stream, but she's not nice to me outside of the stream.
Yeah.
Fishing percent, only good percent.
Yeah. Honestly, the only reason I never went for A. I've only ever run A for races, and then I've run A, I think, like 3 or 4 times outside of races.
So, Kanaris doing a wonderful strat as we talk about how optimized and skillful he is, where he spins his control stick around for several minutes in a row to show us how incredibly skill requiring run is as a section.
Yep, and Blue just kind of going back and forth. Both players really having the time of their lives. $2,000, guys. A curry pizza and an alcoholic caffeinated beverage in your pocket. All of those things, they'll fit, I promise. If you can find a usable, viable rune skip in any percent. New game, not New Game Plus.
I do like what Bubsy has pointed out in stream, that Iron Pipe is instantly given to you in Gestalt.
That's true.
Best RNG out there.
Yeah. Thank
Bubsy,
you
hold on, real quick shout out while we're in Grun. An amazingly skilled runner who runs this game blindfolded and has completed it in less than 4 hours. He's got an ending A with a blindfold on, which is insane to me.
I really want him to submit to the main boards.
To submit his blindfolded time as a legit run. Let's see if he, honestly, see if he can get it. I kind of want to submit a time that's behind that, just so that we can have the blindfolded run not be last on the leaderboard. That would be sick. So much respect. It's a really cool alternate category that I will be surprised if we see anyone else have a finished run of in a long time.
Speaking of blindfolded, actually, Kanaris did attempt...
He did attempt one.
Did run at one point.
He almost got out of prologue. One time.
He almost got prologue, but his main menace was Silo 2.
Yeah.
The dreaded Silo 2.
Oh, that was such a good stream.
I was laughing my ass off during
Oh, me too. Oh, it was so funny. Oh my gosh. Alright, so yeah, just killing enemies for EXP, guys. Gonna come up and do some more cores. Isn't this delightful? Who's having a good time? I'm having a
good time.
Don't stop me now. Believe it or not, this is actually really tight timing. The cores, like, they're not trivial. The worst part about this part of the run is that you can't just, like, be lazy about it the whole time. You actually have to try. Because it's horrible, and you have to try. It's like, why? Why, Grun?
But we're done! Kanaris has finished killing Grun, guys, and now we go from 0 to 60 so fast, as both these runners can tell you. 0 to 250, 0 to however fast you can think of. That's how fast.
Is that in miles per hour or actual?
What I like to.
250 speed.
That's in freedom units.
It's 250 speed.
Freedom units.
Freedom units. Thank you. No, but what I like to say is that, despite Grun being the bane of many runners' existence and the reason that a lot of runners actually quit, it's like a gatekeeper for the most fun, crazy, wacky parts of the run. We're going to be seeing the most difficult, the most technical, the most interesting skips in the entire run, and it is going to be thrilling. I hope you're strapped in so that you can stand up with your chair still attached to your back, because you're going to be standing, you're going to want to be sitting, you're going to be cheering at your screen. It is going to be thrilling. Let's get into it.
Dude,
Kanaris and Blue drown warping right on quick. And Kanaris coming up to the most precise trick, an incredibly precise trick, copied city clip.
Oh, and he gets
First try. That is, Kanaris' lineup is incredibly difficult. Most runners use a slightly slower lineup where you pull out your keyboard or just try and hold as straight as possible on your controller and get a visual lineup. Kanaris lines up with a tiny scuff mark on the ground that is incredibly difficult to get quickly.
Kanaris going for the BlueMetal strats. The trying to pay homage to his opponent here by doing the pod launch through the doors there.
Wait, Did he? No.
Yeah,
no,
he
he just pod launched into the door.
He pod launched into the door.
Oh, into the door. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because Blue would pod launch as they're opening to get that cutscene a little.
So
bit
let's see if
quicker.
Blue can get this, guys. We've seen some different strats for this in the tournament. Oh, Blue going for an old strat.
Version 1.
And losing a lot of time. Oh, this is why we say this hard, guys.
He really wanted that spear. Spear makes it almost trivial.
Guys, so Kanaris here on mansplaining. Kanaris is extremely used to using either the spear or VC3, but managing to get the old version of the strat with an unupgraded sword and no spear to clip out. Adam, a huge bully and will not shut up. I just, he just can't stop mansplaining to 2B. So we clip right on out, running fast as we can over to this elevator, and just, we threaten him with leaving. We say, hey, you know what, boy? If you don't shut up, we're gonna get the hell out of here.
Mansplaining is the best skip ever.
It saves about 45 seconds, but we actually decide, yeah, you know what, I'll come back and finish this conversation, because if we don't, and we take the elevator, we'll soft lock the game, and just Adam and us will infinifall until the end of our lives.
Let us embrace.
So we'll see if BlueMetal also manages to get mansplaining here, but Kanaris has already made his way onto the combat section of this fight in particular.
First try for BlueMetal here. So in this first phase of combat, as soon as we start our dialogue, it doesn't matter how much more damage we do. We just have to wait for the dialogue and then hit him one last little more time. And now we are ending the final phase of Adam here for Kanaris, where he's going to try and kill him as quickly as possible using all those combat techniques we talked about. And I really hope that Adam does not turn into that, like, wavy, invisible thing where you can't hit him. Ooh, 2 big crits! You'll see the big sort of screen shake and the noise, and that's how you know they got a crit. BlueMetal correctly timing. He got there so fast he actually had to wait a little bit to make sure he get the full time save from mansplaining.
For a split second there, I thought BlueMetal canceled it too early, but very quickly here from Kanaris, we're going to see him basically finish talking with an enemy and immediately talk to the computer girl that's right next to her. He's going to interact with the supply trader right next door and interact with the transporter to read some of his mail to trigger the rest of the factory section in the run here. Very quick motions there, but he did skip a fair amount of dialogue.
Thank you, based computer waifu.
Couldn't have said it any better myself, Shabu.
She is definitely an underrated NPC.
Oh man, where's the fan art?
Computer girl.
Computer girl fan art. Chat, get on it, please. Oh, Blue getting grabbed by Adam. Just he can't keep his hands off her. He's mansplaining. Adam is not a good boy.
No, Adam is being rude.
He's a mean boy.
As I said, Blue getting kind of, not so good with the enemy attack RNG, honestly. Really unfortunate. Kind of like every single boss seems to really have it out for him.
Sounds good.
So Kanaris, while he is starting to separate some distance in real time here, is actually has a pretty significant difference in the timer on your stream, guys. So it's a little bit closer than it looks.
That is partly in due because Kanaris is running on Japanese, so Kanaris' perspective is a lot faster than BlueMetal's, but in terms of loadless time, this is still very close.
Kanaris doing a fun strat where we try to look at 2B's upper thigh, and she swipes away the camera, and it has been said, it has been theorized, that it is slightly faster than that slow walk animation that you're stuck in.
But it has also been theorized by exactly one person, me, that it is not worth trading your soul for a couple of frames. # save the animals.
Get this guy out of here,
those boys.
Get this guy out of here. He's not trying to go as fast as he can.
This stream is about soul and purism and education. That's what it is. We have no jokes about
gaming.
death warps. We have no
gaming.
jokes about death warps. We will do everything in our power to avoid unmoral, immoral, amoral strats. Kanaris thankfully not blowing up here as so many people do. Oh, he did. Oh, I missed it. Oh, Kanaris. All right, I'm a BlueMetal fan now. Oh, BlueMetal's doing it. Oh,
do you want to be fast? Do you want to be fast, game?
Speaking of being fast, Kanaris getting a little bit of a faster load in this elevator by talking to Pascal, so that Pascal's dialogue doesn't interrupt loading the next section.
That was a good transition. I'm not gonna lie. That was good. That was a good segue.
I take my bow. So, we have an incredibly awesome, my favorite part of the run, a quick series of 3 skips coming up. Ethereum or Shabu, would you go ahead and explain what we're going to see here from Kanaris?
So, essentially, in this factory fight here, we do have to...
I like BlueMetal strat!
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. BlueMetal, ever the lewd.
Anyway, Kanaris flipping out.
Kanaris did clip out of the Mooks fight, as we call it, in the opening parts of Deep Factory here. That does consistently skip the fight. However, in many cases, you can actually get a faster fight, but that is incredibly RNG dependent, and we're not really about that. Kanaris opting to go for the safe strat, nevertheless. But now that he's down in the deep part of Deep Factory, he's not interested in running through this. Those of you who have played this game will remember that this section is very long, it's tedious, it's annoying to go through, so we're just going to clip out here. Out of 9S room, as we call it, and go back up the elevator. We've essentially reset the elevator so that way we can activate it and go all the way back up to the top area of Deep Factory, the Mooks room, as we call it. And now that we're in this room that's really high above the rest of the Deep Factory, we can pick and choose where we want to plunge down to. By clipping out on this pipe here, we're able to essentially clip down to a position almost directly underneath us, but that area specifically has the trigger that we're interested in. Kanaris is definitely failing on this pipe here.
He's struggling.
He's too far right from what I normally use. But anyway, he's essentially dropping all the way down here to pick up the trigger. He gets that, and he respawns just in time so that way he doesn't actually plunge down to that part of the Deep Factory. He respawns all the way back up and is able to plunge down to the tail end of the Deep Factory area, right in front of the boss room, essentially.
Nice.
BlueMetal getting that first try?
Yeah, it looked like he might not, but then he got his way through the wall.
BlueMetal might be able to save some time here if he clips out on the pipe in Mook's room pretty quickly here. I didn't quite see what BlueMetal's performance was in Mook's room.
He got it.
Yeah, it seemed good. He's. It looks like he saved a decent amount of time over Kanaris. If he can get this, I'm knocking on wood again. It hasn't helped yet, but maybe it will this time. Come on, Blue.
Oh, that's catastrophic.
I should just never speak. I should never commentate ever.
So you saw BlueMetal even stop there for a second. I'm sure his heart sank. That's a significant time loss. I think about 40 seconds here, and it's gonna mean that Kanaris is gonna have to make a mistake of equal or greater proportion for Blue to have a chance to come back. We're not going to be able to see enough slight optimizations here, because we're getting close to the end of the run, guys. Within about 10 minutes, 12 minutes here, we should be seeing the final boss die.
BlueMetal was a little risky on some of those crushers, but he did actually make his way through that. Kanaris ended up saving about 1:45 by doing that skip in particular, but maybe a little bit lower because he failed on some of the clip outs. But otherwise, BlueMetal did save some time in comparison to the regular route. However, not as much.
Yeah, not in comparison to his racing opponent. And it's one of the reasons why this part of the run is so exciting, is there's significant potential for large time save, time loss on some difficult tricks with some high risk for failing.
Kanaris also only getting the one attack out of Soshi there.
I mean, Bokushi could always run to the wall. Sorry to talk over you there. But,
oh, it's still... The race isn't over, but...
can I would like to point out one thing.
What's that?
I will ask for a few things. This is probably one of my favorite things in the run to point out because I'm the only person that thinks it's cool, but you know what? Darn it, it is cool. So what Kanaris is going to do is actually going to go through the part of the game that we went through during prologue. And so this is our final real skip, like our final clip. And it's actually one of the first clips we do in the game, again, because we're in the same spot. And so the whole run kind of comes full circle. Because the last skip we do is one of the very first skips that we do, and I think that's super cool.
Unfortunately, Kanaris failing on the high jump on the fence there and opting to go all the way around. I'm surprised that he would do that.
Wussing out and just going around. That's actually was found fairly recently that you can get over that wall there. But Kanaris just is too afraid to massively spaghetti it and lose more time because he either knows how big a lead he has or just is feeling the race nerves.
Kanaris also, as
he went for the wrong fence.
No, that's not the right.
No,
that's not the wrong fence. That's the right fence.
He went for the right spot. He just messed it up.
As Winzipper pointed it out in chat, Kanaris did not do Shabu skip. I'm really disappointed.
He does it with the spear. Not all the time, but he usually does it when he has a spear. He's practiced it a lot with the spear.
He isn't as
quote-unquote free
launch as he normally should be.
I'm heading back to the resistance camp.
Yeah, I think it's just that all of his practice in a long time has been on that clip has been with the spear.
Yeah, it is quote-unquote free with spear.
It is not free, but it is very possible.
That's why I said quote-unquote.
I did actually notice two optimizations there for on Kanaris' screen. He did actually dash swing up some of that debris, climbing up the overpass there. Normally, in many other cases, you would actually have to jump, but Kanaris has figured out the correct angle and speed that you need in order to climb those. I did not actually know that.
No
mini-map for Shabu skip is what Kanaris is saying.
BlueMetal almost messing up the out of bounds there in factory. I just saw him walk on.
You can make it through under the stairs, by the way. Just pointing that out for anyone who wants to know. If you get stuck under the stairs, you can make it the whole way. Anyway, sorry, continue, Myth.
So Kanaris definitely has a good lead here over BlueMetal, but he still needs to be careful in these last couple sections here. If Kanaris flubs too many times here, BlueMetal will definitely be able to catch up. Although Kanaris is probably feeling quite confident in these last couple moments of a ending.
It's definitely worth pointing out their load times, or their timers right now. Because while they look super far apart, Kanaris' timer is actually about 25 seconds, well, 22 seconds ahead of BlueMetal's. That's important.
Yeah, I think that's just through variation between each of these players.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying the difference between them is not exactly what it looks like necessarily at first glance.
Exactly. So Kanaris is making his way into Bokushi. This is a little bit of an interesting fight because of the electricity here. It can kind of burst down to if you're not careful in how much health you have. Although Kanaris has done this a million times, making sure he's not slowing down Bokushi at all in his animations there, but he is looking to get the vacuum attack that
he gets real quick.
The boss fight there and manages to get the self-destruct off, killing a good number of those enemies
for some EXP
in the area.
So now he's dragging the core as best as he can onto the hill. It can be a little bit awkward to fight this core on flat ground because sometimes it'll raise up. Kanaris making it pretty hard to see, but I think he did that well. Going over to grab a quick kill while he waits for this next cutscene to happen. As he makes his way over to Core 2, the last, we're going to have a little bit of a mini fight into our last fight before the final boss of the game. So we are getting real close to the ultimate finale here, guys. And these last two bosses, both the second fight of Core and Eve, are actually wonderful ways to show off just how important good slow-mo is in combat. As with slow-mo, you can get a nice quick kill on the second Core. Normally, what it's supposed to happen is it's going to wrap around us like a big old snake and then drop the nice yellow, juicy jawbreaker in the center. But with nice slow-mo, I think you should see Kanaris killing it before it even gets a chance to.
We did have a little bit of a frame drop there from BlueMetal, but BlueMetal did get stuck on one of the legs that I would have considered a little risky, because being next to one of those ranged lasers there is a little too close for comfort in my opinion, but Kanaris should be able to attempt the zero cycle, as we call it, on 4-2. Very nice execution there.
With a partner
good number of
dialogue cancel cherry on top.
We've got a nice slideshow on BlueMetal's screen for a little bit there. Oh, he's going for some fish.
Opting to go for the fish, the long-range fish.
BlueMetal, what are you doing? We've got a race.
Do you know what you could probably do? You could throw that pot out and then use flashlight and taunt those enemies from far away.
Probably.
So, guys, now there's one thing. If you watched a lot of, or any of the other matches in the tournament, you may have frequently seen runners buying defensive buffs. But not here, not today. So there is definite potential to die here on this E fight, and I think that's what we would need to see a comeback by BlueMetal.
I mean, it's gonna be rough. I think he's behind by a minute. But honestly, anything can happen in this format.
Those crits. So we are seeing Kanaris attempting to use slow-mo to get a phase skip on Eve. If he can delay the healing enough, which he got another couple of hits. If he can delay enough healing and prevent Eve from getting to full health before this dialogue finishes, he will skip the entire next phase. 9S will just hack him right away. And he really does not want to fail it, because if he fails, 9S can bully you really hard and maybe lose like 8 seconds by refusing to hack.
Nice. Kanaris making his way into Eve phase 3 here. What Kanaris is probably looking to aim and do here is get Eve down to a specific point in his HP, so that way he can attempt for an SD and actually use self-destruct for an intended purpose. Although Kanaris does need to be careful when he's doing these pod launches into the boss that he actually heals up when he goes into some of his attacks. I personally have even messed that up as well.
Kanaris level 20.
He is having a little bit of a struggle here. More than I've usually seen him struggle. Eve really kind of not treating him very nicely at all.
Oh yeah, Kanaris doesn't necessarily always do a lift into some of Eve's attacks there. That's kind of an interesting setup here. What Kanaris usually does
he's
is
missed lasers. Sorry.
He has missed lasers, yes.
But he's at the level 20 threshold.
In this. He might need to change up his strategy here. He is losing a good amount.
Kanaris is forgetting really hard. He's at the level 20 SD threshold. He can use the SD strat, but he is opting not to go for it.
It looks like Eve is just moving around too much. Wow.
I think so, because Kanaris was actually
Blue going for the
Kanaris was managing to lift and do a pod launch into Eve, but the combination of those two puts Eve way too high up into the air to actually have the SD strat work.
Okay, can I point out Blue got the phase skip?
Yeah, if there was a death here, it'd be enough.
If there was a death, if Eve is just really mean and just it's an uphill battle for sure. My bets are on Kanaris. Yeah.
Alright, that's the last input, guys. There's a set amount of time before the timer will end, but that is race 1 for Kanaris. We have a bracket reset. If you're a Kanaris fan, oh boy, that's what you wanted to see.
I can always reload my backup data from the bunker.
One time my game crashed before this split. At the end, like after I beat Eve and I was standing here, my game crashed.
I guess it's still, anything is possible. So if you're a Blue fan, you have like about 4 seconds to sabotage Kanaris' computer.
There we go. Yeah, Blue coming up on this last part. It's unfortunate, but it ended up being a lot closer than we expected with some of the time loss that we saw. We'll be
Yeah, so
going
correct me if I'm wrong. I believe this is the slowest time Kanaris has put up all tournament.
I think so. 126.57 is definitely a.
I'm fairly confident he
scared to
hasn't had a
say tier 2
127.
time for Kanaris.
Yeah.
World record being sub 123, if I'm correct.
It is a 122. Let me check.
No.
It's okay.
The unofficial.
I can always reload.
Is it unofficial still?
But you'll lose.
Yeah.
I think it's still
Yes.
possible.
The unofficial is 122.52.
But we can't upload this corrupted data to
I
the
need to
bunker.
verify that.
So
9S.
Yeah, Kanaris has not put up a time, a 126. The slowest time he put up in, at least in bracket, was a 125.59. So, man, if there was an opportunity to beat Kanaris, that was one of them.
I mean, oh, man, 120. BlueMetal at what, a 127.36. Those punches hurt him a lot.
Yeah, so just
Like, it
knowing
wasn't
you have
enough.
that from the very beginning.
But, like, you know, the tilt and then the enemy RNG. My God, he had some of the worst, like, enemy attack RNG that I've ever seen on every single boss. But you know what? Blue has another shot.
He's got
Kanaris has another shot.
So
Both
BlueMetal's
players-
PB is a good 50 seconds ahead of them Kanaris just put up. It is not at all outside of the realm of possibility if Kanaris has, you know, even a performance 30 seconds better or a minute better, that Blue could beat him. It is not over, guys.
All right. So with that one done, we're going to be going into the next race pretty soon here. We're going to take a little break, let the runners kind of rest their hands, stretch out a little bit, maybe go to the bathroom if they need to. And while they do that, we're just going to discuss what we just saw. Does that sound good?
Sure. So I think we want to do a little bit of a breakdown between both Kanaris here and BlueMetal, almost piece by piece. I kind of want to go split by split, if you will, for both of these runners. So almost out of prologue, some of the performance that we did see from both these runners still super intense out of the opening parts of the game, but I think just getting punches for BlueMetal really set him back and really didn't do too well for Blue's mindset going into the rest of this run.
Yeah, I think that, honestly, I had my last race of the tournament, I had punches and then I had bad angles RNG. He did a full, I think, laser at the end after Shut Up. He did a full laser, and I know I was tilted from the get-go. I was kind of a similar situation, ahead, and then after that happened, behind. But not by much, but like behind, and it gets in your head. I wouldn't be surprised if Blue was pretty upset from the get-go, but you know, top runners, they've got pretty strong mentalities usually. And Blue really did put up a good showing against Kanaris.
I definitely think so too, but
not quite good enough. So yeah, from prologue, after prologue, so prologue, then that shmup. I don't think we really need to talk about the shmup. City Ruins to Resistance and the fetch quests. Kanaris kind of spaghettiing his pickups on the items.
I definitely think so too. We had mentioned this during the run as well, that Kanaris and BlueMetal ended up killing a couple I know Kanaris killed an extra machine that he needed, or that he didn't need to kill, because those enemy drops basically spawn, or those enemies drop items based on where they spawn and which enemies spawn where. Those drops and those enemies don't necessarily spawn in the same location every time, and it's a little difficult to sort of predict where they're going to be. So ideally you would be wanting to kill the medium biped there, and I think it's the level 5 stubby and the level 4 stubby. Those 3 machines end up dropping the materials that you need. But the problem is that sometimes you actually do mix up those enemies. And I know BlueMetal did manage to kill 2 extra machines, whereas Kanaris managed to only kill 1 extra machine than he needed to. Both runners did end up losing time on that, but even still, picking up those items didn't really do them any favors.
Yeah, so Kanaris
losing a little bit of time in that.
Kanaris confirming, by the way, that he was nervous. Blue is the only person who's managed to make him nervous, but he's also confident he's gotten all the spaghetti out of his system. I would be feeling good. I would be feeling good. So I want to talk a little bit about mentality here, because Double Elimination Grand Finals have an interesting set of mentality where if you're BlueMetal going into the first race, you have this nice sort of safety feeling where like I can lose one race and still have another shot. Now for some people that makes them play great. For some people they need the pressure of their back being against the wall to really truly, show how great they are. So it'll be interesting to see if there's a sort of different mentality for both these runners. Kanaris knowing he's only got one more victory to win the whole thing, and Blue having either the additional pressure, as a help or a negative of elimination being on the table for him for the first time in the whole tournament.
And I think we're also getting a little bit of a glean into what both runners' mentalities are here, even just as we're waiting for the next match to be set up. BlueMetal are maybe being a little nervous in some of his early game here going into the desert just to practice his lineups on some of these B lines.
I think an interesting thing for me is that I feel like both of these players are at such a level that they take all those mistakes and they kind of internalize it, and they're like, okay, the next one's going to be better. I'm not going to mess up on this. I'm not going to mess up on this. Like I know this, and they're going to internalize those mistakes instead of thinking, dang it, you have to remove yourself and say, okay, this is a new run. It's a new run entirely.
And that really kind of gets to you. Like, no matter what game you play that you as a viewer are watching, no matter what game that you play, the first time you do something and then the second time you try it again, it's probably not going to go the same way. And that can really mess with you as a runner because you need to be focused on how things go throughout the rest of this.
Well, the big place
we even see that in this tournament.
The big place I'm looking to see where that affects is roller coaster. Mentality coming into roller coaster is going to be huge. Both these runners knowing that they just messed it up and whether they can stay strong to their conviction to go roller coaster. Because if you're in the middle of doing a trick and you have a voice in your head saying maybe you should be playing it safe, that's going to make it extremely difficult for a trick like roller coaster.
Sorry, go ahead, Shadow.
No, sorry. It's basically one thing I was going to bring up is back-to-back races takes a lot of endurance as well. It's hard. I did that once in the tournament and I thought to myself, never again. It's hard, especially if you have any kind of hand stuff. I don't think either of these players have any hand problems, but it's rough. I mean, we're probably going to see really clean play in some areas where they feel more refined, more refreshed. They're happy they got something out of their system, but there's a good chance we see a little bit more spaghetti out of, maybe tiredness, or they could just wake up. That first run, getting it out of their system, getting, woken up if it's early in the morning, getting warmed up. It can go either way. I'll be interested to see how it works. Yeah,
I mean, so Prologue is a really interesting section where it starts out as the kind of, snooze fest of a shmup, but immediately then it goes into a really difficult portion of the run with the silo fights all having a lot of potential for spaghetti or for, good speed, bridge skip, which both runners make look very free, but we have definitely seen very good runners spaghetti multiple attempts of bridge skip. So it's really sort of, prologue right off the bat is not an easy thing to start the run with.
And it's difficult too, because even between, say, someone who is actually accustomed to streaming runs on Twitch, or even just doing runs locally back to back, it's a different dynamic in how, I guess, focused the runner is, and how, if you're doing multiple runs in a single day, then it's quite easy to do that if you do it consistently. But if I know some runners who do actually run locally and only run maybe once or twice or so a day, and that second run is generally a worse run. So
Now,
it'll be an interesting dynamic to see here.
Should be said that Kanaris usually streams long blocks of runs. Now, usually those aren't multiple full runs, it's a lot of resetting, but Kanaris is definitely no stranger to streaming a large duration of runs in a row. Although the last couple world records he sets were in, first run of the day type race situations, so it'll be interesting. That is for sure.
We're getting started here pretty soon, I think, right? It looks like both runners
just
are.
changed the audio back, and I think BlueMetal, both runners are ready. So
Beautiful. By the way,
keep talking.
The timer staggering from last game is because of the change in language.
And the change in language, yeah. So that's going to happen, and it certainly is possible. We saw. I thought it was going to happen in the last run of Ethereum, but it is possible for one runner to finish first RTA, and the other runner to actually win the tournament. So keep an eye, guys. Look for opportunities where you like a cutscene. I'll try and point them out to you where we can see exactly what the actual time difference between the two runners are.
Yeah. So if Kanaris wins, there's always, or if Kanaris finishes first and it's really close to Blue, there's always a chance that Blue actually won because we're timing loadless. Just
the timer is what really matters, guys.
Making that very clear. This is the last race of the tournament. Grand finals, both in losers. Whoever loses this loses the tournament. That's probably a bad way of putting it. Whoever wins this wins the tournament.
Wins the whole thing. Yeah, so if you have a favorite runner between one of these two, like this is your last chance to send them your energy to to give them good luck. Punches comes up in the first 15 minutes of the run, so they're going to need all the luck they can get because punches is not only a big time loss, but a big mentality effector. I'm sure if either of these runners get punches, it's going to start being in their heads of, oh man, this was my last shot and I got punches. So everybody knock on all the wood you can find within arm's reach.
Honestly, as a commentator, I hope neither gets punches or both get punches. I don't like that disconnect of the two.
I want to see two punches. I want to see how they can each adapt to that mentality. I want to see these runners suffer and pull it out. I know a lot of people hope for massive world records. I want to see the scrappiest and see if they can keep their mentality together and hit these difficult tricks in that end section of the run under the pressure of having a poor run in grand finals. That's what I want to see.
Honestly, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Anytime there's spaghetti coming from both sides, making the race really exciting and interesting, that's what I like to see as a commentator because I'm selfish and I like commentating close races.
Yeah, I'm with you, Shabu.
Looks like we're getting started pretty soon here. Yep, looks like we're getting the countdown ready.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to know that, Kanaris is a big favorite coming into this tournament. So I think we have a lot of BlueMetal fans. Everyone loves an underdog story. And he's put up times that really look like he could be, a contender, not only Kanaris in this race, but maybe over time, to the world record, which Kanaris has held for a long time. Over a year.
No, wait.
And I think we are off. The countdown has been done. We are going into this
I need to
All
refresh my
right,
stream.
final race, guys. Let's get hyped for some shmup action.
Everything that
The winner
Woo!
of
designed
this
to end.
race wins
We
the
are
tournament.
perpetually trapped
The
in
nasty
a
NieR
never-ending
Automata
spiral of life and
speedrunning
death.
tournament year 2018.
Is this a curse or some kind of punishment?
Had a lot of runners in this tournament. It was
I
really
often
cool to
think
see.
about the God who blessed us with this
Okay, I think
present,
Kanaris' oldest
and wonder if we'll ever have
world
the chance
record
to
was either
kill him.
11 months ago or like 11 months ago.
It's been a year, I believe, from the time that Kanaris bopped the previous world record holder, Icefire, beating the 136.30 time.
Yeah.
Come a long way since
I just
that
can't
time.
find the. I just can't find it.
It should be.
Oh,
recorded
1
on
year
speed.
ago. 1 year ago, I think.
Once you reach their anti-air defense,
Wow,
I
that's
remember
so
that run
many.
in
So many
particular.
people have gotten so fast.
I remember that run in particular
then?
because I was taking notes on Icefire's 136 run as Kanaris bopped him.
Yeah. It's well, Kanaris had so many, like, because Ice didn't run with the new skips that Marky had found. But this was before Desert. Wow, that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
Shout out to
Mark. I was
Marky.
gonna say Marky. That is the first instance of that name, but that is an important name in your speedrunning. So much of this run of the tricks that we do was found by Ghost Hunter Marky. We are all
Praise
very
be
grateful.
Marky. He is my dad.
The
I
at
love
this
him
point,
very
the
much.
only way to gain more gratitude in the NieR community than Marky would be Grunskip. So if you want to be
Honestly?
NieR famous, that's your goal. World record, Marky, or Grunskip.
Yeah. Alright, so, I don't want to explain this right back to back, but shmup sequence, we already know the drill. I think most of you guys are... Actually, it might be new. There seems to be an influx of some new people, so it might be
There's
worth
always new
explaining.
people coming in. So, what's going to happen here is we are not at the majority of the combat is going to be on the ground with 2B with our lead android here. Instead, we're in a flight unit. There's a couple of these shmup sections in the flight units throughout the run, and we begin the run like it. We transition right here into a
they are
mobile
like...
configuration.
They're
Yeah, we
like
see both
pretty
these runners.
perfect.
This is a highly optimized section where you're going to see most runners really consistently get within about 2 seconds of their usual times here. And the goal basically to being kill enemies either off screen or as soon as they come onto the screen, so that once the wave dead, we can go to the next section. In terms of time differentiators, I really would not expect to see too much unless one of them sort of messes up a pattern. You're going to see them pretty much stay right in sync with each other.
Surprisingly, I think one of the things that I know BlueMetal uses as an internal timer there for the first half of the shmup is just waiting for the phone call there to talk with 6-0 and looking at the timer and see where he places himself in the opening sort of section. And in comparison to Kanaris' perspective,
Angles.
Oh,
Blue got one.
There are
We got one.
a couple of little interesting AI manipulations there, which is our fancy word for we push the AI ships to try to get them to shoot the enemies we want.
Yep.
That was an interesting time loss from Kanaris, actually perfect evading into one of the bullets there from the enemies that actually
Is
did
that
lose
gonna-
him some time. Yes, that is from perfect evading from it.
Wow. No, I was gonna say, is that gonna put Blue ahead of him?
I think it's made it about
Oh.
even, but Kanaris does have the better upper hand in some of the optimizations.
That ring, he killed that ring
His
so fast.
his timer is also...
Ooh. It's a sub 420 crash from Kanaris,
Okay.
which is, despite the perfect evade, a very good time. Alright, so we're getting back into our wonderful 2B damage glitch combat, where we do a dash heavy to throw out our spinning swords. You know, gonna go ahead and explain this again, because it is the most important part of NieR combat. This dash into the spinning sword is gonna do 4.5 times damage, and is gonna allow us to hot knife through butter all these enemies.
Very
There's something that we
swaggy
actually...
there.
Yeah. something we actually didn't bring up is that it's actually 4.5 times base damage. Or, yeah, it's 4.5 times base damage. Which matters for when we're buffing, taunting, critting, stuff like that.
So a lot of the things that we actually do to multiply our damage all multiply with each other and come out to a crazy, crazy number.
So
pretty sick.
You may be wondering if you watch the first run, well, hey, this is Marks. You know, why do we buff on this first Marks fight here? And that's because we want as quickly as possible before that first attack is over to get it down to the threshold so that we can start that little dialogue that gives us the laser.
Ooh.
First
Let's
try,
go, Kanaris.
Skip, Kanaris, spaghetti that last time, but not here. He is ready to play.
That is what he was saying. He's gotten the spaghetti out of his system. It's boiled. It's eaten. He ate his spaghetti. It's all gone. That was horrible. I don't know where to keep going with that analogy, but you know what? It's out. He's Kanaris.
You can
out.
see the separation it already started to give Kanaris.
Exactly. Kanaris managed to save about 4 to 5 seconds there in comparison to BlueMetal.
Yeah, this is
once Kanaris is ramped up, the man does not stop.
I can't wait for him to get punches and the sweet, sweet justice from that.
So I love this little flyer section in the silo, by the way. I know a lot of people don't, but I think it's such an interesting sort of push-pull between how long you try to group the flyers for a God Laser, as Kanaris spaghettis the hell out of Bridge Skip, but how long you try to group the flyers for a God Laser versus just trying to kill them as quickly as you can individually.
Oh, I totally agree. I love flyers.
To lose some time.
Blue.
Spaghetti from Blue as well. This is actually, we need all the height we can get here, guys. It is not as easy as it looks. They do not just, you know, simply jump up there. Some pretty
it's
precise
actually
timing.
one of the harder skips in the game. Most top runners have just done it so many times. Oh, Kanaris. Oh my god!
That was insane, guys.
Sorry for the loud noise, but that was...
He I think is on pace right now for prologue, like 14-minute prologue.
He might be.
Not
I mean
that.
Okay. Okay.
Kanaris
So
missed the laser on the well-named Kanaris swag.
So-
Because Kanaris is the only one who can really do that trick consistently by hitting 4 machines with a single laser, as well as having a well-placed damage glitch as one of the stubbies falls down onto it. BlueMetal also wanted to go for it, but he only got 4 of those stubbies. Here, Kanaris, again, out of Silo 3,
angle swag,
pretty far ahead here.
that
in
optimized
BlueMetal.
line. God, it seems
He
like the
is-
only thing that can stop Kanaris at this point is us jinxing him.
I'm trying my best, don't worry.
I'm trying my best not to.
No, I'm joking, obviously. I want to see Kanaris destroy this game. It has been a wonderful year watching Kanaris wreck this game. Oh my gosh. We joined at around the same time. I remember when he joined, and it's just a wee lad asking for all of the tips and tricks he could find.
Kanaris is
And-
18 seconds ahead already.
Wow.
That's insane.
He quickly became the best, too.
Having a sub 8-minute Silo 3 exit is a ridiculous time, I think, by anybody's standards, and Kanaris definitely was a pioneer for this A-ending category,
Wow. This is...
So-
to say the least.
We talked a little bit about going into this race, guys, about Shabu and I wanting to see some scrappy spaghetti play, but there is definitely something to be said about watching the best in the world do something at his very best and watching him just speed through this. I mean, you know, there's a reason he's a world record holder, so you guys are watching something special.
Kudos to the man until he gets punches.
Until he gets punches.
Until he gets punches. And
So
then
not
he's
right here,
behind.
guys. We are waiting for, first we have this time section here where they're just trying to get some damage and threshold angles. It's really easy to threshold them. They're gonna do good combat just because they like to get some practice in, but you do
also,
not
you
have to
can-
be optimal here.
You take... you do want punches. Because you generally want to deal a little bit of damage. Kanaris just...
Kanaris getting hit on purpose, as I said, he likes to do good combat. I mean, yeah, you do want punches, but it really doesn't matter.
Well, you need to get him down to a certain threshold so that he doesn't punch you on the pipe.
Yeah.
I think
fair
Kanaris
enough.
might be a little antsy on some of these damage glitches here. You can see he's actually kind of canceling them a little bit early.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, he maybe another property of damage which we haven't mentioned is there actually are, I think because of the dash sequence, I know there are some iframes on damage glitch, so he may have not been getting it on purpose. He maybe have been attempting to use the damage glitch iframes and just have kind of horribly mistimed it. But it'll come up during the run. I think Kanaris is one of the few people who does. Punches, boys! Punches!
Prayers have been
Ooh, into a... So when you get really low on health, the game kind of freezes for a second, and that actually makes him lose even more time. I mean, only another fraction of a second, but still.
Wow, okay, so what does Blue get here? He gets...
Range.
The tables have turned! The tables have turned! The tables have turned! Oh my gosh!
We were talking about Kanaris' amazing speed. He managed to build up a lead, but that lead is gone, and in fact, the lead is now on BlueMetal's side, guys. So,
wow.
You know, I don't know if it was your energy, but if you're rooting for BlueMetal, and that's all you care about, this is what you wanted to see. You know, maybe this might be what it takes, but...
Honestly, that's heartbreaking, though. I was actually really enjoying seeing Kanaris destroying Prologue, but you know what?
BlueMetal teasing us with the left pipe and then hopping back off.
I can't.
Although BlueMetal is back into the normal area on the bridge, though, I can't say that I'm very impressed with BlueMetal's performance on the bridge.
So, worth noting that Kanaris last run was showing off all our amazing horizontal movement. Oh, and we're going to see it again here. You can get so much distance and height and everything staying off here with weapon swaps and pod launches and pod spins and all of this.
Yeah, fun fact, what I like to do there is I like to void out because it puts you perfectly in the middle, and then you don't have to worry about the camera panning up.
Perfectly balanced.
Because
So
look
here,
at that.
BlueMetal does have about a 5 to 10 second lead over Kanaris.
5-second lead. So still a very close race, guys, but Kanaris' amazing prologue play, honestly
Blue.
amazing.
Wow, that was
Ooh,
okay.
that was
We're
close.
really holding our breath here because
These are-
BlueMetal is on a razor's edge here in comparison to Kanaris, and Kanaris is... He's not far behind, ladies and gentlemen, and any
No.
flub here can be the difference out of Prologue.
We saw Kanaris had a great ninjas last time, which are these little guys on top. We'll see how good. Oh my! Oh, that was very
Kanaris
close to being
didn't
incredible.
kill every single one in that one laser, but he did end up killing
Making
more
up
subbies
time.
than BlueMetal did. Both of these guys on Engels here. We said this before. Engels is a mean boy. We're trying to get
Kanaris
the
getting...
dialogue here.
Kanaris has no fear. We are in the last race of Grand Finals. He has died on this section in this tournament, and he is
That's so
committed to
embarrassing.
his low health strats. No matter how many times he's had twice, he's gotten the scary black gray screen of, you know, hey, maybe you might want to go to full health. But
I just want to know why.
Not that kind of intelligent.
But he
Mostly
keeps
because-
it low health here to potentially manipulate Engels' attack timings to get a better... he wants to try and slow him down on missiles if he thinks he can do it to time his last attack at the end of this dialogue.
That strategy does require a good amount of knowledge on the runner's half because you need to know on a whim what attack gives what kind of time loss. Kanaris getting almost
Speaking of time loss.
there, but he's specifically done it so that way he can slow down Engels enough so that way he still gets that dialogue.
And look,
And
he's
now
taking
he's in
the
the
lead.
lead. He
He's
took the
taking
lead
the
with
lead
that.
Because of it.
There's
So
a reason he
case in
does
point,
those risky
Kanaris
strats.
slowed down Engels enough so that way he wouldn't have to go into another attack for no reason. He slowed him down so that way he can just get the dialogue and right into the story punch.
Wow.
I mean, if he hadn't slowed him down there, he would have gotten a whole fresh attack, potentially a really long one. I mean, that makes a big deal, guys. I don't know anyone else who goes through that strats, and there's, you know, it's little things like that that makes
How
it a
new is
distinct
that?
world record holder. It's
That is
not.
very new.
I mean, it's Kanaris only level right now. That's how new
However,
it is.
Wow.
Kanaris with a 1430 prologue, fortunately, not as good as the prologue as we had seen in the first matchup, unfortunately,
see.
but very tied up
So-
here between
But
the two
only because
runners
of his
this
punches.
time around. Only because of punches. True.
Blue only 2 seconds behind. But let's be honest here. Blue would have been ahead last race too if he didn't get punches. So
True.
honestly, I feel like relying on the punches only because punches thing, it goes both ways.
You could say that we are trading punches.
Yeah.
That was good, actually. I liked that. I'm not gonna lie. I can't even pretend to be disgusted because I liked it. Ugh.
All right, so we have menu boss coming up.
You press A and B a lot. You do left, no, right. Wait, what direction do we hold in this?
Right.
Worth noting,
Right.
neither runner. It actually is faster if you have all your volumes set to lower. You won't have to hold right for as long. Both runners preferring to run on high volume.
It's because there are some sound cues that most runners like to hear. And so having it on whisper %, a lot of runners actually think that that's pretty difficult. And most will avoid that. I usually put mine to about 3 or 4 volume, specifically for that reason.
Tool-assisted speedrun would use just 1 volume.
Mm-hmm.
Worth noting,
Or
you
no
can't
volume,
actually. You can't actually run on 0 volume. The game won't let you set it to 0 volume. You could set it to 1 and then set it back to 0, but that's slow. So for those of you who hate sound, find another way to turn it off.
The surface? That means we'll be getting flight units, huh?
Sound is nice. Sound is very nice. And speaking of sound in this game, oh boy, do we have a treat for you.
What is the treat?
The music!
The music. For
The
those of
music
you
in
who
this game
haven't
is
run this
wonderful.
game or played this game casually or even in a speedrun setting, you do get to listen to this Craigasm soundtrack.
See, I thought you said that we had a treat for them, like we were actually going to be able to hear the music over our talking.
Oh, no. Unfortunately, all the good music is not in A ending. That's only in A to Z.
Oh,
I
all
agree.
the good music. What,
Actually-
amusement park? Thank you very much.
Actually, no. Prologue has some of the best music. It has a nice flat 7. Oh, baby, gets me every time. I swear to
Give it to
God.
me, Shava. Lay it out on me.
Oh,
Should
I
we save that
swear
for
to
Groon?
God. No, we should save that for Groon.
Okay.
Alright, so coming up in the shmup, both runners showing off pod program and our wonderful, strange speaking strat. I have no words to describe that noise. But they're also showing off pod program to get quick kills on these fidget spinners, as well as the initial wave of enemies. Fidget spinners can give you some really annoying attacks, so being able to quick kill one is really important.
Okay. In between this, I'm going to talk about just a music thing super quick. I'm not going to say much, but someone said Peaceful Sleep is good but doesn't match Weight of the World. I'm going to lay it down right now. Emil's Despair and Emil's Determination. Best music in the game.
Amusement park is GOAT.
I kind of feel like that's the popular choice.
As a
But
as a
Kaine doesn't
professional
get enough love.
I'm not gonna do that. I do.
We'll bring this back in Grun, guys.
Yeah.
We'll bring the music.
We'll have to
discussion
revisit
back.
this.
Chat, get your music discussion ready for Grun. Study it up. Study your music theory. But right now, we're heading to the Resistance camp.
Unity agrees. Heck yeah. By the way, if you are new and watching, and you didn't watch the first run, which we just did literally minutes ago,
Oh, Kanaris messing up some of the
Kanaris
moves. They're putting Blue ever so slightly closer here.
oh, Blue getting
BlueMetal
actually
actually-
a pretty interesting. I haven't seen it done that way very
I was
much.
just gonna say that as well. I've never seen somebody stand. That was like standing on the top of a pinhead.
He didn't do it like that in run number 1.
So this is the resistance camp.
I think
most
that was
people-
almost by fluke. I've never seen
Yeah.
someone stand on the concrete there and do it, and that basically reset their jump.
That was pretty rad, honestly. But yeah, if you, what I was saying is, if you're in chat and you didn't watch the first one and you're confused as anything that's going on, we're kind of brushing over things a little bit more because we talked about it all in the first time, and we don't really want people who are watching both runs to be like, oh my gosh, mute. We want to try and keep things a little bit fresh. So if you have any questions, we are more than happy to answer. We are watching chat very carefully, and so if you have any questions, just ask and we will answer them.
And we'll still hit the major things. Like, yeah, the most important things of the runs. We'll point out when they're going out of bounds. We'll throw out some names of tricks for those of you who are curious.
I'm seeing a little bit of spaghetti on BlueMetal's screen there. Just a couple dashes here and there will be the difference between these two runners, between how close this early game is. Kanaris, by far, I think has the best early game out of any runner whatsoever, and that alone changes everything. I know between Kanaris' early game and my early game, there's about a minute difference between when I finish quests in the Resistance camp and make it to Desert. There's about a minute of time save just from me alone, which is pretty bonkers.
Yeah.
So
Kanaris, his beelines are insane. If you look, he's hugging corners. Anytime he goes around a building, it's like hugging a corner, or it's directly beeline straight from one area to the next. Look, he's right next to that wall, right next to that bus, going straight into that area. His beelines are insane, and he's said many months ago, he's just said, your beelines. Anyone would ask, how do I get faster? He just says, beelines, your beelines. Work on your beelines.
Yes. So while you guys are saying that, though, BlueMetal gaining a bit of time because Kanaris, trying to optimize his damage with a punch on the small stubby, launched it super far away and had to go chase it down. So BlueMetal had a much better stubbies fight because of it, and has actually managed to, without our wonderful, glorious beelines. I mean, his beelines are still really good, but has actually managed to gain some time back on Kanaris.
But I think BlueMetal is sort of dangling on one hand here, holding on for dear life as we get thrust through this game as quickly as we possibly can.
So one thing that we've mentioned in the earlier runs, but I want to fanboy out about Kanaris while you guys are talking about beelines, is I mean, you see a lot of good runners do it, but I think Kanaris does it the best. His use of slow-mo near just random enemies when we're moving to make sure that they don't give him attacks and disrupt his movements.
Fun fact, he could be slightly more optimal though. It's one thing I see that a lot of runners, top runners, could be doing that they don't use as much is camera manipulation to be able to continue dash swinging forever.
And so the camera movement makes a difference because of the auto lock on in this game. You'll see when we get close to enemies that are on
You even
screen.
see it now as well from Kanaris. He actually managed to slow-mo as well as turn his camera away from the enemies, causing them to not be in his field of vision and continue dash swinging, preserving his speed, which is very crucial here.
So I don't think we really...
Yeah,
we didn't really talk about resilience. We talked a little bit about... We talked about the buys, we talked about what you buy, but we didn't actually really talk about what resilience does.
Yeah, I mean, I love this buying section because you set up for so many things later in the run. You buy resilience, you buy animal bait, and you grab that transporter, which are all used for later chicks. The resilience chip is crucial to NieR Automata combat, even though we don't equip it until all the way in Pascal's village later in the game. But the resilience chip means that when we get hit at full health, above 80% health, we won't get knocked back and we can continue on our merry way. Combined with the large amount of recoveries that we buy, it means that we can just face tank everything and keep throwing damage glitches so that we never have to stop.
Whoa. I like how Kanaris is using the right-hand side of the barricade closest to him for the better beeline instead of using the left-hand side of the barricade.
He was a left-hand sider for a long time.
I think Kanaris has seen the wrongs in his ways and has changed. Smile.
Alright, but both these runners essentially tied at this point. Kanaris very slightly ahead, but also his timer is very slightly ahead.
That's true. It's ahead by, it looks like a second. A little bit more than a second. Looks like a second point 2.
That was a really nice sand slide on BlueMetal's part.
That was very nice. That puts Blue right there. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, Kanaris. Yeah, they're essentially tied now, guys.
Oh my gosh.
23 minutes.
It's basically come down to the input.
Every little thing matters. Blue getting a better slide.
Careful. We've got enemies approaching.
Blue slides are beautiful.
Guys,
Blue
these guys
slides
are
are
neck
gorgeous.
and neck.
Oh my gosh. Every
Literally
little thing is going to matter.
streams.
Blue got a better
drop.
slide right there, guys. You saw that? He started his slide just a little bit earlier by standing in the right spot and timing his dashes correctly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
Okay, wait, Blue. I need to watch this VOD. BlueMetal is the sandslide goat. Holy crap!
This is insane. every little
Kanaris should
thing.
watch this
If they drop a dash heavy, they're gonna like whoever's in the lead is gonna lose time. Like what? This is insane.
All the more stupid rock being the culprit.
So that is not BlueMetal's fault, guys. Don Burrows refused to burrow for BlueMetal and refused to allow him to stupid rock. Little tiny bit of RNG that's in the run
Don Burrows
that you are seeing because of how close this race is.
Don Burrows saying, "I'm the captain. Look at me."
I love this little sand slide they do here, by the way. You use SD for another one of its many purposes to get that quick downward momentum, so you can get really fast all the way down and start your sand slide from the right spot. If you start it too late, you're just not going to save as much time, and if you start it too early, you'll actually gain too much speed and you'll pop up.
I wonder who came up with that strategy.
Yeah, I was going to say one of my absolute favorite runners ever had a way to do that strategy and had a way to do it instantly. Myth Slide.
Ooh, baby.
It's one of our illustrious commentators.
I love this Adam Pit skip. It's so visually appealing.
And gets platform.
I thought this was a major skip. Why are we not explaining it, guys? Come on.
All right, guys. So we are doing the desert housing skip. We did a quick out of bounds over there in the apartments, and then we avoid some invisible floor, and that can soft lock us, and we go all the way down to the outside of the Adam Pit. But we got to pick up a required trigger near the tunnel, and we got to pick up a required trigger on the platform. So we grab those, and we click back in right on the platform to enter the wonderful Adam Pit here for a beautiful series of out-of-bounds tricks.
And not to mention, we've also upgraded our damage as well by having another short sword on our other weapon swap that we'd otherwise just have sort of left there on its own. We can make use of that weapon swap and basically have 2 damage glitches thrown simultaneously.
So keep your eyes. I want to keep my eyes on how many kills Kanaris can get because he had an amazing fight last time.
Try counting.
This one is looking really good too, guys.
Is he going to be level 8 by the end of Pit? Because he was level 8.
He uses slow-mo. Okay. And then he's getting hit out of his SD.
Oh, that's going to be big, actually. That's going to be really important. Oh, he's going to miss out on all that juicy EXP.
All right, so we saw no sword dodge skip from either run as last time, guys. So we're seeing his first cutscene, and they do not want to get another cutscene until Adam teleports up into the rafters.
And it's actually kind of tricky to get.
Kanaris got it.
Nice. It's actually really tricky to get because you actually have to line your damage glitches up enough so that way they're both spinning in such a way that they're constantly damaging the boss down, and he has no opportunity to transition into the next phase. If you hesitate for even a second, then you lose the opportunity in skipping what we call sword dodge.
That's a fast Adam.
Clean and fast Adam. Sub 128 Adam is a very fast time by my standards.
128? Sub 28.
Yeah.
Sub 128. Everyone should be able to complete a sub 128 Adam. I should
have excited.
Both of them got sword dodge skip, by the way. Oh my gosh. Also, I have to mention something that we didn't mention before. Level. EXP. It's going to be a huge important factor that we don't really talk about. It's kind of invisible time loss or invisible time save is this EXP stuff. It really only matters with level, but whether you get to a certain level or not depends on how much EXP you get. And so that pit fight is really important. And then getting that SD will probably not be super important for Kanaris, but he is a level lower than he was last run. And so that's important to keep in mind because BlueMetal did actually get that SD, and that could add up some things over time.
I expect that by the roller coaster he should reach the same, but we'll see whether he can still get level 20 by the end of the run. Level 20
if he does roller coaster.
If he does roller coaster, that's true. That's true.
If he skips roller coaster and kills the tank, then he's going to be over the EXP that he probably had last time.
Although the chances of Kanaris going for the tank over going for the spear is very slim.
Why not both?
If Kanaris
Possible.
is that much of a god and that much willing to sacrifice in this run, then by all means, go for the tank and spear.
So I believe with proper use of slow-mo and very good movement, you can lose 5 seconds on the roller coaster and still get the tank and the spear. Is that correct?
Somewhere in the realm, I believe from Marky's timing, it was in the realm of 6 to 7 seconds worth of time loss, because as the roller coaster makes its way around the track, it's a set amount of time, but in order for us to have the time in order to kill the tank and kill and get the spear, we actually do need a larger window than what the set period of time is. So we actually need to slow the roller coaster enough so that way we can get the tank killed and pick up the spear in time.
Blue actually
The
having
problem
better...
is that is like frame perfect slow mowing, and I don't know if Kanaris is really that focused in this race to do that. BlueMetal is only a couple feet behind him. I'm really kind of concerned on what Kanaris' decision is going to be here.
Blue had better movement.
Yeah.
He had way better
Blue
movement
had
there.
ever so slightly better movement, but
he did more dash swings, and good dash swings too. Kanaris played it a little safe with some of those dashes.
If you
I
didn't
really want to see what
run, dash swings are our movement with that spinning heavy. That's our fastest form of movement, unless we can get a spear, which we believe Kanaris is going to attempt to do with an extremely difficult trick coming up right here, guys.
Can I say something?
Basically,
go for it.
Sure.
It'll be real quick, I promise. So, second place in the world, calling Kanaris out, saying Kanaris better go for it.
He's going for
I
it,
think
guys.
he means the whole thing.
There's
like tank and spear.
Tank answer.
That was a little bit of an interesting Let's Play trigger there that we saw Kanaris just dip off the tracks to get.
And he's
Kanaris
off.
dashes off, very nice, but he does need to be careful on some of these triggers there. He might have gone.
Can still mess up, but he did the most difficult part.
Okay, that's still good.
Right.
Kanaris is still in the lead for getting roller coaster here.
Wait,
We'll see
Blue,
what
Blue, guys.
does.
Blue.
Ooh,
Yeah, he gets off. They're both
Now
off.
it is almost a gamble as to whether or not the triggers on this actually work because of the way that the roller coaster is designed. If they do this by slipping up in a very small way that we imperceptibly do occasionally, it can actually break the roller coaster and lose minutes worth of time.
I don't know, that dash swing off the rails for Kanaris looked...
So what do you think?
It looked good, but it might have
It
been
looked
too
kind of short.
It's totally
I was
okay.
thinking it kind of looked a little short. I could be wrong.
I'm good.
I'm not too certain on
We'll
what
see.
BlueMetal's dash swing off the tracks was, but there's like 5
There's
to
the
7
spear.
different triggers that we need for this thing to work. I know
gonna
Kanaris
find
usually
out in
gets
a
to
second
the
here.
coaster quickly, and he gets it.
All right, he gets it.
So
Wow.
Kanaris picking up the spear. That is going to be a huge part of the... what is he
Oh,
doing?
no. What did Kanaris do? Why did he...
I don't know.
Kanaris accidentally switched
Actually,
9X's,
spaghetti losing time.
Oh my gosh.
World record holder.
So Kanaris switched the combat style on 9S
Blue
and then
catching
decided to take time to do it back. Blue catching up.
up.
That
Guys,
was a very quick punch from BlueMetal. Holy crap.
I need to point
It
out
is
that it's
caught
very
up, basically between these two
Look at the
runners. This is
timers.
going to come down to how well they use the spear for the rest of the game.
So
Wow.
the spear, guys, since we've already seen this Beauvoir fight, the spear is going to be a major difference between this run and the first race. They are both in this fight. They're going to equip Virtuous Dignity, the spear here, which is going to unlock a new, very fast form of movement tech known as spear dashing. They're going to use alternating SDs and heavy attacks to push themselves forward with the spear and give us some wonderful audio as they zoom around the map. It is not easy to do. There are several people who have control schemes that are horrible for it, that they can't do it. But both these runners, I believe Blue even changed his control scheme to allow for better spear dashing. So
I know
this is going to be
Kanaris
a
also
big
does a little bit of a weird clogged rip with the way that he spear dashes. Again, we're going to be going for the laser strategies on these body sections. Still good lasers from Kanaris here. We'll see if we don't get hacks like we did last time from both of these runners here. BlueMetal also going for the double laser and the triple laser, but he missed one.
But that's still fast. That's still pretty fast, honestly. Kanaris had to kill one
hacks.
laser.
BlueMetal not reacting fast enough to get that hack avoided.
You can dash through them. That's what I
dash
usually
through
do.
them, but that's almost frame perfect from what I've seen.
Kanaris picking up with manual pod fire as many of these additional little crucified androids as he can, both for hoping to get a small recovery, and just for any little bit of EXP you can get while it's free.
It was an interesting menuing there from Kanaris. He actually opted to choose the spear equip at the very end of the Beauvoir section, so that way he can also buff up simultaneously, tab over to his weapons tab and equip the spear, so that way he can now spear dash. But the thing that we had alluded to previously was actually, because of the way that self-destruct works, is that you don't actually, or you cannot self-destruct while you're on 1 HP. Kanaris actually ended up using a medium recovery, so unfortunately that's going to cost him time later, but he's able to start spear dashing basically immediately and start gaining those benefits. And even at that, we see on BlueMetal's screen here, he's used a small recovery. That's going to allow him to still save a little bit of time over Kanaris.
I will say now, sorry, this is important. If you are epileptic or prone to seizures, I would maybe not watch.
Yeah, the SD thing is going to be appearing on the screen for every cycle of the spear dashing for large portions of the rest of the run.
I just figure that's probably important to say.
Probably, yeah. The screen's going to be darkening and lightening a lot throughout the rest of these movement sections. For the rest of the game, essentially, this has unlocked a new sort of strategy that we haven't necessarily seen in this tournament setting from other runners as well. This is
I heard
very
Blue
unique.
I heard Blue was struggling with this, but his timing looks good.
He had to change his control scheme to be able to do this.
Apparently, he was labbing it out all night, is what chat was telling me.
Let's go, Blue.
Well, that's sort of an interesting thing because you can, I know personally myself, even when spear dashing, you can do it slowly or you can do it really quickly. But it's the matter of gaining the benefits of the actual movement when you do a light plus heavy. The sort of spear forward motion we're getting from each of these. It might be a little difficult to see on a lower bit rate, but believe me, the most important part of spear dashing is taking advantage of that displacement and initializing the next one as quickly as we possibly can.
Kanaris, I wanted to like you. I wanted to root for you.
Kanaris choosing to save this animal, to save the knees on this board instead of saving the frames.
Blue getting small bore.
Blue getting a small bore.
Hopping away.
Oh my gosh.
The crowd pleaser.
The crowd pleaser.
BlueMetal gonna make up a tiny little bit of time on this board section because he is hopping.
Unfortunately, Kanaris not getting the same luck as he did last run in canceling that small pop-up that we had seen as he enters the resistance camp. But that is
calling out Kanaris.
Basically frame perfect.
That's right, Chad. Get on.
I would be angry at Kanaris too for not doing boar hopping. Boar hopping is slightly faster whilst going uphill.
BlueMetal is the people's choice.
People's chance, even.
Bobby Scar. But he might be able to gain a little bit of time here because he does have the one shot ready, but it looks like he does have the one away.
He is on lower HP, but this animal might be. Oh,
no, he hits 9S.
The small bore is actually really can do that a lot. A lot of Kanaris fans in the chat, despite the fact that he didn't boar hop. I don't know how I feel about that.
This is an emergency transmission from the bunker.
Hashtag Team Kanaris.
Just another thing to add whilst we're sort of on the topic of spear dashing, as this is sort of the newest sort of addition to A-ending, as the most recent world record has its it's an interesting dynamic in that you have to really sort of time them properly. Otherwise, you will actually be losing time because the character will be standing still for so long, and so having to refresh it quickly is very important. But
wow, this is a sight to see.
In terms of the different sort of movement styles, spear dashing, in comparison to dash swinging, as we had seen in the previous match between these two runners, spear dashing is really fast in comparison to dash swinging, which is very impressive and very awesome to do.
It's hard for me to tell with the frame rate on BlueMetal's stream whether or not he's doing it quite as well as Kanaris is.
It seems way more fluid, but the thing is that it really comes down to the camera settings that each runner has. Because Kanaris has a very strict and sturdy camera that follows the character very strictly, it makes BlueMetal's movement appear more fluid when it might be too fast or it might be too slow in comparison, but it looks about the same.
Oh, Kanaris missing it again.
Kanaris
and goes for the double lift just for
safety.
Yeah.
So it's another interesting question I brought up in the whether or not we should have asked the Move Jones whether or not these runners are watching the stream and whether they know how much of a lead or deficit they have.
I think Kanaris is in chat, but I don't think BlueMetal has uttered a word in chat at all. I don't
think BlueMetal is
approach here.
So yeah, I don't think BlueMetal knows. It's just whether Kanaris goes safety strats because of his mentality in this race situation or because he knows he's got a small bit of a lead here.
They are not. They're not watching.
All right, I love that they're in the. So they're going to be full-on nerves. If you know you've got a lead, you might start to calm down a little bit. But no, these guys are going to be racing their hearts out and thinking that every second could potentially be the second that makes the difference.
And we are sort of glossing over a couple different things that happen in this run, but one of the things that we didn't talk about initially was an interaction. Or no, we did talk about Skype glitch.
we did talk about it. I'm on
interesting movement from Kanaris.
It's not Discord
glitch.
That
was very swaggy from Kanaris. Dash swing.
Yeah, the dash swing onto the route, onto the dash swing. Ooh,
to the next route. Very swaggy.
Stop turning me into a Kanaris fan. Just stop.
But one thing to mention, actually, as a result of doing these two matches back-to-back with each other, we do actually have to close the game and restart the game outside of other games where you would probably have to just finish the run and then click start the game again from a new game. But the problem with Skype glitch is that it persists through saves. So no matter if the game is open for 10 minutes or if it's open for an hour and you get Skype glitch, you will still have Skype glitch after another reset. That will or would have affected this second run. But since we actually close the game and restart the game, we actually nullify the benefits of Skype glitch in this second match, and the players have to get it again.
I'd like to point something out after. Sorry, after you're done.
Yeah, I'm finished.
I just realized something. I'm gonna knock on wood this whole time, but
oh, what is that hitbox from Adam? What the heck?
Wow. But Blue, if he has a good run here, even if he like maybe doesn't win, if he has a great run, he could take second place on the leaderboards.
That is a very strong consideration.
That's pretty rad.
BlueMetal is having a pretty dang good run here, and I think anybody who's able to keep up with Kanaris definitely deserves that second place position.
So, speaking of keeping up, I just timed it, and BlueMetal is 25 seconds behind Kanaris. So.
This has been a pretty good run. There's only
we know what that is in comparison to his PB.
We can look at the timer coming up at the end of the split.
I think so, yeah.
But yeah, but Kanaris has created some separation since the Bovard fight.
Kanaris again picking up some of these world drops. That is important because he wants to make sure that he gets the level 3 sword that we had alluded to earlier in the first match. Faster sword deals more damage, spins faster, and allows us to move faster. And overall is better for the run. But effortlessly we're able to escape this fight and make clean work of these guys in the tunnel. And with the benefits of spear dashing now, Kanaris is going to be able to spear dash all the way out to the transporter.
Yeah, killing all those enemies makes
Kanaris
a big
is on good pace. Kanaris is on a pretty good pace, which means that Blue's probably on a pretty darn good pace. Also, remember, guys, anything can happen. Like we saw,
anything.
Blue's ahead.
We saw Blue get punches, and then we saw Blue screw up Factory. What if the roles were reversed this time? Knock on wood.
It's far from over.
There's so much left in the run.
It is not over until 9S dies.
Oh, thank God.
Dies again. And
not
then
over until
Wade comes back.
So Blue's timer staying green the whole time to the end of that split, so he's ahead of his PB. Kanaris, let's see if he can get this dialogue cancel, which he missed last time. Yeah, he went the safe route.
He gets it.
So the safe route is to go over there on the side of the door. And Kanaris frequently will try and go just straight ahead and stop at the right spot. But doesn't want to miss it again.
Kanaris probably lost 1/10 of a second there in not being right next to the transporter when the dialogue finished. Pinocchio.
By the way, I'm gonna check Blues. I have Kanaris' splits open, and I'm gonna check Blues now. So tell me the closest split, so that I can check compared.
Negotiations
would be
was the
the
last
first
thing
one.
we split, and
Yeah.
so then next split after negotiations is for
Emil.
robots.
Yeah,
No,
It's Emil.
Yeah.
But yeah, Emil.
Yeah.
So, just to go over this while we do a little bit of research here, Kanaris, he's selling a couple things in his inventory, some of his old buffs, as well as some of his system chips.
What are his
favor for?
Blue doesn't have splits, by the way, on his on the leaderboards.
I
Just
can't.
check manually.
Someone who knows the Japanese text want to tell me what chips Kanaris had. We were able to see his inventory there. We'll have another chance to see it when he
We'll
equips.
have another chance once he equips them. I would much rather watch him equip them.
Wait,
Although Kanaris is opting to equip his chips later, he must have gotten a glimpse as to what they were.
This job can be
If he isn't equipping now, then he's possibly going
Kanaris
to try
knows
and-
what he has.
He's probably trying to aim to equip them later to get a possible weapon attack up from these enemies here, like we had seen from BlueMetal. And actually a bit of a reversal here from BlueMetal. He's equipping his chips early. He's throwing in resistance.
Blue is now after that equip slightly ahead.
Kanaris actually getting the dialogue there?
Oh my
Kanaris
gosh.
missed a partner dialogue cancel. He
You can
got the
pod
other
pat
one.
through this. Kanaris, you can pod pat this.
Oh my god.
You can pod pat this, Kanaris.
He doesn't know.
Unfortunately, Kanaris actually lost like 10 to 15 seconds there of waiting for the dialogue instead of actually canceling it in the right position. He got a little too greedy on his positioning, not usually on the lineup that he usually uses, giving Blue a little bit of an edge there. But Blue, unfortunately, not being able to keep up some of these spear dashes in between his movement to the commercial facility. Is Kanaris going to equip anything?
Did Kanaris forget?
He hasn't equipped yet?
I don't think he has equipped anything.
Chat, tell us, did we all three of us miss it? But I don't.
So-
we didn't see him equip.
He might be doing what I do, which is really weird. I don't know why he would, but I equip at A2 when I buff.
I think that might be the time save that he's looking for.
No, he forgot. He was just
Kanaris-
grabbing
Oh,
it.
you forgot!
Through the
Oh my
stream.
gosh.
Throwing on. Oh god. Were those crits?
Yeah, someone who runs in Japanese, tell us.
I wasn't looking. I also
You can
can't
tell
read
by
it
what
with the bit rate.
characters that the critical up chips are versus shockwaves. Shockwaves are very short Japanese characters.
It doesn't look like he got shockwaves.
So then perhaps he might have gotten weapon attack ups.
Wince were saying that they were crit +2.
Whoa.
Don't listen to what they're saying, 2B.
By the way, guys,
it's gonna be crazy.
forest movement is very, very fun. I like forest movement. I think everyone likes forest movement. It's one of the most fun parts of the game.
We had seen this again last game as well between these two runners. Kanaris is going to try to go for the Rainbow Road.
Oh, he has a spear now, though.
Long jump here. He does have a spear, but I don't think Kanaris really uses the light attacks all that much.
Light attacks are unneeded. Pod launch is unneeded. But Kanaris goes for it anyway.
Kanaris...
BlueMetal!
Oh no, Blue!
Oh no!
Blue fell down.
Oh my god, he doesn't know how to get back up.
Oh no!
He doesn't know how to get through.
No.
He has probably not failed this in
that actually is an interesting
runs in a long
I've never
time.
seen that before.
I have neither.
On BlueMetal's screen.
Wow.
I've never seen that high jump.
That is a lot of time loss.
We are seeing Spaghetti on both of these runners' perspectives here. Collectively, we are spaghettiing together. This is amazing.
Like to point out, again, about 15, 16-second time difference in the timers. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind.
As the race goes on, though, it only is going to get more tense and more wracking for these runners as their minds. You know, it can be really dangerous if you get in your head, you start to thinking, I'm going to win this. That's the most dangerous thing you can have.
Oh, I definitely agree.
We had seen from BlueMetal, they're using the spear lights there, but he did lose a couple frames from some of the animations there. We'll have to see.
I need to talk to him about those spear lights. Those spear lights are so slow. He is by far a good enough runner to not use those.
Kanaris going into A2 here. This is going to be interesting because of the critical chips that he has. It is just RNG.
Okay, he did get shockwaves.
So I think it's a yeah, because he has a shockwave. So either they were different chips or maybe they're shockwave +2s instead. Has anyone, did he crit at all on E2 there? I don't think he did. I think he's on shockwaves, not crits.
Might be shockwaves. Because he does have shockwaves.
He definitely has shockwaves, just whether he got a shockwave and a crit or 2 shockwaves.
Is A2
but unfortunately,
RNG
I don't
today?
think that A2 was as fast as it could have possibly have been, because as she was dashing across the screen, not exactly lining up how Kanaris would have wanted it, but I think that was overall a better fight than the previous one we had seen in the matchup between these two guys here. We'll see how BlueMetal goes into this fight as well, having much better luck off the bat. Holy wow.
Yeah, Blue is going to need all the luck he can get right now. Honestly, he's going to need to have pristine combat, pristine movement for the rest of this, or hope for Kanaris to make some large mistakes.
Wow, BlueMetal actually getting 3 lifts out of A2. I've never seen that.
Wow.
I've never seen that before.
Nobody has ever done that.
Instead of her dashing across the screen, that is insane. When she lifts up and doesn't actually manage to get the player to lift up with her, you're able to keep damage glitching her, and she's all left midair. There's nothing that the boss can do. But if she were to choose a dash attack instead, then there's nothing that the player can do. That's amazing.
40 seconds,
That's a
guys.
really good A2 fight from Blue.
There's a 40-second difference.
2 times shockwave +2, by the way.
Okay.
On Kanaris.
So due mostly, I think, to the movement spaghetti from Blue in the forest, there's now a 40-second difference between these two runners.
Yeah, that is nothing to scoff at. But honestly, they both have spear. I'm not going to count anyone out. Blue just picked up a skill salve for some reason. Is he looking to do some interesting strats and get a little bit of extra time? Wow, that was the fastest save. That was the fastest thing I've ever seen from Blue. Did you guys see that?
The reason why BlueMetal picked up that skill salve there next to Pascal, that's because he doesn't have to buy them from Devila and Popola after Adam 2. It saves on a little bit of menuing time.
Although some people just skip.
I thought most people don't.
Just don't use any skill salves at all.
I didn't think skill salves were really used by most people anymore.
Kanaris has been using them on Eve Phase 3, so that way
he didn't last
instantly get he can basically instantly get the threshold. Wow, much better short fight from Kanaris. He can get the threshold on Eve Phase 3 SD, much better.
Alex Starfree telling us that Blue needed to pick that up for his secret Grune skip.
Did somebody...
Alan.
Yeah, someone made an Alex Starfree account.
You're kidding me.
I think it's so funny. Alex Starfree is a bit of a meme in the
Somebody
near
ban that account, please.
Yeah, somebody. Alex Starfree is not allowed in this chat. Speed game moderators, please ban Alex Starfree.
Don't actually.
Don't actually.
Please don't actually.
We don't want to get anybody
angry.
angry.
I don't want to get him. So, as we enter Grun, Alex Starfree is a meme. The community is one of our wonderful guys who commented on a YouTube video once, saying that he's finished the game and what was it? Like
someone else
minutes?
said that Alex Starfree finished the game in 55 minutes. Someone else said that.
Minutes.
This isn't even the world record. Alex Starfree beat the game in 5 minutes. So that is not true. From everything that we could find, and no proof has been shown.
In fact, until he showed up in Twitch chat today, I've never seen any proof that Alex Starfree is even a username used by anyone.
He's corrected me. 56 minutes.
56 minutes, okay.
Yeah, that's more reasonable, you know. $2,000, by the way, guys. I have to say it every time. $2,000, a curry pizza,
$2,000 and a pizza.
And an alcoholic caffeinated beverage. Yes, I can say it. If you're of age, obviously. If you're not of age, you're not getting the alcohol. But $2,000, American dollars. Yeah, I'll probably eat the pizza. Anyway, $2,000 if you can find a skip for this section. It's called Grune. If you can skip Grune, $2,000. And it has to be usable in any percent new game. That's it.
Just a couple things to mention. In this section, it is a long shoot 'em up section that is very different from the rest of the game. We have seen a couple instances of shoot 'em up sections previously in A ending and also throughout the rest of the game as well. But Grune is by far the longest shoot 'em up section to this run, and a lot of hatred to this part is well deserved from the community.
About 11 minutes.
Carl Theodore.
I don't necessarily think it's that long. I think we've all been sort of exaggerating how long.
I think it's like
this
half an
section
hour
is.
long.
But
I think it's probably 2 years. That's what it feels like.
I'd say it's about a month.
Okay, I can deal with a month.
Mine's
pretty bad though.
After you get your 128 Atom Pit, then you get your month-long Grun split. It's a long speed run.
That's a pretty long speed run. Longer than, dare I say...
100%.
100%.
Nothing's longer than mackerel, though.
So, do you fish at 100%? Do you have...
No. Well, in 100, yeah, but we don't have 100. We have 98%.
Oh, 100%'s on the way.
Yeah.
100% routing is on the way, but
yes, it is.
For the moment, the longest run we have on the leaderboards is 98% quests.
Ooh, if it's that big, we should be able to see it. Sorry.
So is 100% also all endings?
What?
Is 100% also all endings?
I think that's still to be decided.
Yes, let's do it. 100% plus endings.
Wouldn't it be all quests?
Oh, it's all. Let's just go full 100%. All quests, all fish, all endings.
Oh God! Then you have to do. Then you have to do enemy data. Thank you, Dale. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. You taking one for the team there. 100% is all achievements. Yeah, I don't think 100% should be all endings.
Necessarily all that great. Mostly because there is an in-game mechanic that allows you to buy all of the achievements associated to the game. And well, we don't necessarily see it in A ending, but there are means to get essentially infinite money.
Meadow, okay, heard.
Oh, whoa.
Well,
actually, one thing to point out here on Kanaris' stream is that his partner is missing.
Oh.
And he just miraculously disappeared. Because, for whatever reason, we actually have no idea, our partner, whether it be 9S or 2B later on in the game, can actually just disappear whilst in a shmup. And while that happens, the game, I guess, perceives them to be everywhere and anywhere. So the enemies that come in from off-screen actually get shot down from all four corners by our partner and stolen from us.
Omnipresent 9S. There's literally nothing that I want less than an omnipresent 9S. That sounds like a really horrible lyric in a song.
Mad Ewok actually asks, does the game give you a percentage? In some cases, yes, like for quest completion, and I guess counting A through Z endings is, I guess, counting that, considering that there are 26 letters to the alphabet, and stuff like
Kanaris.
fishing, stuff like unit data, all gets calculated into...
Kanaris losing a little bit of time.
Yeah, RNG making up a little bit for mistake.
No, he didn't. Oh, yeah, making up for his mistake. Sorry, I thought you were going to say RNG losing him time.
No, that did lose him time. It rotated.
Yeah, it did lose him time, but even if he killed both cores, he would have still got that bad RNG, right?
Oh, true. Yeah.
So it wouldn't have. Basically, it actually, like, his mistake would have cost him time if he got good RNG, but because he got bad RNG, it didn't matter.
Slack hog.
Yeah, I see. That's one of the reasons why we hate Grun, is that sometimes, like, even if you make a mistake, like, I mean, we don't ever want to lose time, but we want to feel like our time loss was due to our own play.
Yeah, definitely. There definitely are a few moments that are pretty RNG dependent, and those can be annoying, but it's been said that there's no RNG on cores if you're fast.
Yeah, guys. So I know we've been pretty down. We've been pretty down on Grun. So if you need to give, give one of your loved ones a gift, you need to go make a burrito. You need to go buy some new shoes. Do that, but be back here for the end of Grun, because that is gonna be the excitement time. That is gonna be where ones are win and lost, and I can't talk because I'm so pumped at the end of Grun.
That was a very strong sentence.
Please transcribe that for me in chat, guys. Please add me in the Discord for that sentence I just said. That please like audio clip that and play it back to me when I try to stream it. Just whatever you need to do. But be here for the end of the run.
Anyway,
so, Shavu, we had alluded to this earlier in the run today, but I want to know, why is Prologue your favorite music?
That's not my absolute favorite.
I forget what the track's name actually is, but why is that your favorite?
It's not my absolute favorite. My favorite, I think, has to be Emil's Despair and Emil's Destruction. And it's because, you wanna know why? The shop theme is actually the same melodic contour as Emil's Despair. So if you listen to right, that's Emil's shop theme. If you listen to Emil's Despair and Emil's Determination, it's the same theme. The contour is the same. The intervallic content is
really
altered a little bit. Yeah.
So, for something maybe a little bit more accessible to the rest of us who are expert in music theory, Myth, I believe you showed something about the music in significance and weight of the world.
Oh yeah, there was a post on Reddit on small plug here from the NieR subreddit r/NieR. Somebody actually posted a video, or a claim rather, of the menu title music significance actually being, when played in reverse, having little bits and snippets of Weight of the World played just backwards, and then when the track plays forwards, it's all scrambled and everything, and I'm not entirely certain on how somebody would have stumbled upon that, but it's definitely interesting in how, especially since it's titled Significance, What could its significance be?
Tech getting upset with me about the music theory chat.
Yeah, sorry. You know, it's all well and good. We are in Grun, but turns out that even the people who understand it didn't want to hear it. Although
no, Tech has his reasons, and he secretly likes it. He loves it.
Sing me home.
No. Speaking of music, by the way, I think something that needs to come back when stop.
That's Virginia.
Oh dear God.
Oh my God. Oh.
And I thought Grun couldn't get any worse.
Speedrunning fails.
Oh boy.
No, so one fun thing about music that I hope makes a return is our one of my personal favorite runners of the game to watch was Marble Soda. Is in the chat. Marby Sodas. Marby Sodas. Head on down to Marby's. Anyway, he used to do what he called meme runs, where he would loop one song. He's done the Emil Shop theme. He's done Come On Barbie, Let's Go Party, whatever, Barbie Girl. Banana Phone. He, you request it, he'll do it, and you can see him slowly descend into madness.
Oh God.
It's awful.
I liked the Emil Shop ones though.
The Emil Shop ones were great. Fun. And then I made him do it at I think half speed one time. And half speed Emil's theme or Emil's Shop theme is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
If you listen to it on 0.25, then it's even worse.
That's so
God, Emil is such an annoying little demon.
You say that, Game Commander, but I'm
I
crying
love
on the
Emil.
inside.
I love Emil.
So is he.
I love Emil so much. He's such a good boy.
Speaking of good boys, good boy Kanaris is about to finish Grun, which makes, well, if he could kill this core, there we go. A little bit of spaghetti.
Hey, we actually have gameplay.
Alright guys, as I always say, Grun, Gatekeeper. I'm just gonna boil it down to words. Grun, Gatekeeper, fun, hard. What
0-60 freedom units.
Yeah, 60 freedom mutant. Yeah, basically what happens is like Grun is the gatekeeper to the most exciting, intense, action-packed part of the run with all of the crazy, wacky, inflatable arm man skips that honestly make or break the run. This is. I hope you liked that tutorial that we just did because here's the real speed run.
Very NieR Automata like in that respect. If you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Kanaris getting the drown warps, trying to make sure he goes just as far as he needs to, so that when he drowns, it, sort of Mario Kart type skips him a little bit further ahead. In fact, we might even call that Mario Kart if we didn't already have a Mario Kart skip.
Convenient naming on older runners' parts.
Yeah, what the heck? Before Marky, all the skips were named X skip, and it was what you were skipping to.
Like Copied City skip, clip that we see right here. It's not even in the Copied City. It's actually going to the Copied City.
I don't mind Copied City clip as much.
When do we get to skip Shabu?
After this race, I'm leaving the Discord. If anyone does the skip, at least. No, but
can see it. Oh no, wait, Kanaris will do that.
No, Kanaris will do it. It's free with the spear.
It's quote unquote free with the spear.
It is. I believe him when he says that.
Oh, I believe it too. Honestly, I just haven't tried it.
I believe he's also said that the flyer on the shore is free, and we saw how free that was in race 1.
Yeah. But yeah, Copied City clip, very very precise. We just saw Kanaris do it. Had a little bit of struggle. BlueMetal gonna get it pretty fast.
Interesting.
Also
so
going for
BlueMetal
V2.
BlueMetal does V2 with spear and V1 without spear.
I think it's because of the consistency.
I think so too.
More
because
consistent.
BlueMetal has had some pretty unfortunate circumstances regarding Copied City clip. And are showing off a little bit here, going into.
He knows he's early.
Really weird terrain. He knows he has time to spare.
Time to spare on mansplaining. The name of this clip, by the way, or this little trick here.
Mansplaining skip.
Yeah, we skip Adam's mansplaining because he won't shut up, telling 2B about the nature of humanity.
Wow, that was
Kanaris
really
doing
fast.
it beautifully, having in fact being so fast at it that he needed to wait a significant amount of time because you can only cancel. You can use that dialogue in the elevator to cancel one
Blue
chunk from Adam. Blue getting out on the first try, and so he wants to cancel that last really large chunk from Adam.
Yeah, so after Adam says only then is when you go into the elevator, but you have to be real careful to get out because you will soft lock if you stay in the elevator.
Although, guys, I'm having some interesting deja vu from this right now.
No,
BlueMetal
stop.
did get
Don't.
a similar...
Don't.
BlueMetal did get a similar circumstance last game as well. He hasn't lost any time to mansplaining and not much time to lose in the remaining sections of this run here. It's really going to come down to how well can BlueMetal make up the time that he's lost between him and Kanaris.
Yeah, I think it's. I think it's still like Kanaris definitely has a decent lead, right? But I think it's still possible. There's still a lot of skips left. There's still a lot of there's still at least the major skip that most people at high level seem to still screw up. And you've got the boss rush, which we saw you can lose a lot of time.
I mean, Kana can die. Blue opening the menu twice? Oh.
Oof. I suppose he might know something. Pascal, can you hear
Is
me?
that an ascot? What is Adam wearing, by the way?
What is an ascot?
Do you need something?
we have gone backwards in our question progress here.
Well, BlueMetal's
Kanaris
in.
with the zigzag, oh boy.
Oh, zigzags in the
Exclamation
chat.
point zigzag to show that
Please.
Kanaris is zigzagging. Because X Kanaris is triggered.
Apparently,
I think it might be an ascot. Maybe.
If that's what
Depends
they want
on
Or
what
a
an
scarf.
ascot is.
I believe that
Depending on the definition of ascot, I will agree with you.
you don't say.
Ahem, it's a scarf bow.
apparently it's
Hmm.
located in the
Mhm.
abandoned factory.
Seems.
I can give you the coordinates if you'd like.
Please.
I was
That is an
actually
ascot.
looking
Thank you,
for that
BV.
myself, you know.
In my corner.
Maybe we can meet up over there.
Sounds good.
But as we had
Alright.
seen before, both of these runners making good use of spear dashing to go this pretty substantial distance between the resistance camp and the factory, loading up the final
Even
couple sections of a ending here.
Panther strat.
Guys, we are
Okana.
getting... This is... I mean, within 15 minutes, we could have... 15, maybe 17 minutes, we could have a winner in the NieR Automata speedrun tournament.
For Nasty 18.
Nasty 2018 3002K.
Come on, you gotta be trendy. Don't make it sound like someone's gamer tag from when they were 12.
XXX
Nasty
NieR Automata
18.
speedrunning
Nasty
tournament.
18.
XXX.
It has good branding.
It's got great branding.
Nasty 18. You
Nasty
can put that on a
18.
t-shirt.
Well, if we do it again and we do relays, we can make the Nasty A team. Okay. All right. Anyway,
So,
going into
Kinda
factory.
disappointed. Kind of disappointed here. Kanaris not opting to do, while you wait for this robot here, you can do a fun out of bounds strat. But Kanaris being a safe boy, staying inbounds.
Tech.
Oh, chat.
Oh god, tech. Oh no.
Oh man.
But at least you got at least that number was not any lower.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably for the best.
Kanaris entering the Mooks room, where we get our wonderful 3-in-a-row difficult skips that combines all to be the deep factory that we all know and love. BlueMetal had some trouble with it in the last race, but it's very possible even for very good runners. Kanaris had some slow clips, but ultimately did successfully get the skip.
Damn it.
See if you
Actually,
can
come to think of it, one thing to add here, we didn't really touch on this, but the spear, we had seen it clip quite easily in the Comet City clip area, but the thing is that the spear itself is a really good tool for clipping through objects, like the heavy hold or pod launch that we've been using on other objects, and we can definitely take advantage of that with the spear. And in some of these cases, we might actually see Kanaris try it.
The spear has really good pushing power, which is important for clips. So I do a lot of like looking for clips and stuff just for fun, and have spent probably at least 100 hours or so just looking for clips. And it seems that the way that the game works and how you do out of bounds and clips with heavy hold or spear, light attack, is that the game tries to put you in bounds, but some areas, like if you're angled in a certain way, it acts like this is more in bounds than something else. So if you're in between two objects and it can't spit you out in bounds, it will spit you out into one of those objects.
Kanaris having a little bit of a difficulty clipping into that pipe, but that's okay. Like we had mentioned beforehand, he falls all the way down to the bottom there to collect one of the triggers that he needs, but he makes it so that way he voids back up to the solid ground he was last standing on just in time, so that way he gets the trigger and voids back up, and he's then able to plunge down to the final area of the deep factory. Pascal being a little bit of a troll there.
So
all right.
BlueMetal here, 40 seconds behind, has made up about 5 seconds between the end of Grun and now. So it is possible. I mean, he's trying. I don't know whether it's just little bits of better movement, but he is making up a little bit of time here.
Come on, Blue. Come on.
First try. Yeah, guys. You guys need to give him your energy because we are running out.
Yes! Let's go. Blue gaining some time on Kanaris. This is getting closer and closer by the second. He's going to lose a little bit of that time there. But
he saved it.
That was incredibly close for
there's some
metal.
There's some Infinifall floor there where you actually get stuck on, and the game thinks you're falling even though you're on the floor. He got stuck, but he managed to do a pod spin and get off it.
Okay, I will say that was the last major skip that they probably could have messed up. So the rest is going to be really good combat, a little bit of movement optimization, but this starts kind of a boss rush. There's only one clip left, and I've talked about it before, but it's kind of the full circle thing that I think is really poetic and cool in a weird way, and I'll explain that in a second.
Oh,
but
I totally stole. I've done
that.
I've said that in all my commentaries. I totally stole that from you, Shabu.
Oh no, no worries. It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's so rad.
The last skip in the game is one of the first major skips in the game.
It's so sick. It like comes full circle how it's all connected, and like you learn things from one area and it matters later in the story because you're back in that area anyway.
So
what I was saying is
fight here from Kanaris. Let's see if he can get a 1 attack cycle.
He ends up getting 1 attack there out of Soshi, not costing him too much time, although there is a strategy of DPSing down Soshi enough so that way you actually don't encounter any of his attacks, and he immediately goes into the next phase, which would be his death throws once you threshold him down, which is
Soshi,
amazing.
Like a lot of bosses in this game, can't die until they finish the animation, their last attack. A lot of the sort of set-piece bosses, humanoid bosses, tend to die right away.
Oh, let's go, Kanaris.
So opting to go.
We are skipping Shabu here.
Woo! Gets in. Oh.
Having a little bit of difficulty on some of that, but Kanaris is opting to go for the safer plunge into there, and actually manages to get the out of bounds pretty well. That also skipped the
stairs. It skips.
So a little bit of
it
irony.
Skips the stairs.
That,
it skips the lift that you would otherwise have to do to reach the out of bounds area.
Shabu skip also skips Shabu's favorite piece of commentary about the full circle of the run. So
That's kind of fitting, isn't it?
That's the meaning of Shabu.
that's how you skip Shabu. Oh my god!
It skips Shabu talking about it.
It skips Shabu's dialogue. All right, guys, we have discovered the true meaning of Christmas and Shabu
If
skip.
that's not a 9,000 IQ play, I don't know what is.
Thank you, Marky, for naming it that. I wanted to name it Deep Factory Skip Part 2, but that doesn't roll off the tongue.
Lol. Yeah, lol indeed, guys. Lol.
Yeah. Dude, Kanaris with some incredible movement. Wow. He has not stopped spear dashing in a minute.
BlueMetal doing that over the fence strat really beautifully.
Unfortunately, BlueMetal not going for Shabu skip.
You know, one of my favorite things about this run is that last skip right there is one of the first skips.
See, he didn't miss the dialogue trigger, so you got it.
Yeah.
He has to wait for Shabu
now
to
he has
finish
to wait.
talking before we can finish this run.
Blue, can you stop before you go through the door? Before you go to Resistance's camp, just let me real quick. Yeah.
I mean, it's
Marky-
only fair. Kanaris missed the dialogue cancel earlier, so
Yeah. Jeez. Oh, Blue with a
Wait.
little bit of spaghetti there on the movement. Everything's gonna matter here because Blue needs to make some ground, and like now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are looking, guys. We are getting to deep enough in the run that we're looking at a death from Kanaris being needed for BlueMetal to win. He is certainly within range that a death from Kanaris could mean a BlueMetal victory.
20
but
seconds, by
I
the
think we're
way.
gonna need it.
20 seconds difference. So,
BlueMetal is going to need all the help he can get in this section here,
If you
because
were-
Kanaris is also a good amount
Wow.
of time ahead in the actual run itself.
those shockwaves were crazy on that. Those shockwaves do so much work in Resistance Camp. Okay, so he talks to an enemy at 1911. Keep that in mind. Wow. I will say, if you're a BlueMetal fan, we need some bless, some give him, I don't know, give him something. Give him your energy in the chat if you're a BlueMetal fan. Give Kanaris some energy in the chat if you're a Kanaris fan. Give anyone energy. Give Ethereum some energy so that he can keep talking and giving us amazing commentary and game. I could
I'm
use it
on it.
actually, but just
I could
give
use some
everyone energy.
commentary, give please.
Oh, you want to know where my energy is going to come from? My energy is going to come from when Kanaris has a beautiful Eve fight, and BlueMetal still manages to find a way to come back. That's what I'm hoping for.
Dude, I would lose my mind. You have no idea how much I would be screaming. I would be losing it.
All
It's
right,
still-
so we got the core
either
fight
way,
trapped up
though.
on this hill.
These guys do still have a good number of boss fights in front of them. Kanaris making very short work of Core 1, as he should be, landing those damage glitches on him in just the right place to deal a massive amount of damage on the boss. BlueMetal making his way into Bokushi here. Kanaris does have to make his way out to Core 2, although BlueMetal is just 2 fights behind Kanaris here.
They're pretty short fights. At least the core is.
Pascal? Come in, Pascal!
I
BlueMetal
do.
is being a little careful on some of his recoveries there, because he does need to be careful on his health. Being next to that laser again, I had said this before, last run is pretty sketchy in my opinion. Oh,
He thought he got the vacuum attack.
Oh,
and he did
no.
not.
oh thank God.
Oh my gosh. That
was
scared me.
Extremely.
Damn it!
I think it paid out.
Here too!
I think it paid out. BlueMetal got the XP, but ended up not getting Bokushi immediately into his death throws. The vacuum attack is what puts Bokushi into the next boss fight. It's a little difficult to see on what BlueMetal was doing on Core 1, but we know
Fishing.
the fish is going to prevail. Kanaris with the zero cycle again, very consistent.
50 seconds, guys. 50 seconds behind BlueMetal.
Wow.
So Kanaris has created some additional separation after we said he was 10 seconds behind in the factory.
What is this?
Looks like he's bombarding
Yeah,
the area
he's
with various connections.
his
I think all these transmissions are making the machine.
The race is not over until it is over.
Final
Yes,
boss
gentlemen.
time, boys. We are watching Kanaris potentially winning the tournament right here. If he does well in this final boss, Kanaris can sort of, you know, world record holder for a year, he can complete his mastery over the NieR Automata speedrunning community by winning this tournament right here.
Are we potentially looking at the Nasty 18 champion on the left?
I think so.
I honestly might.
Presumably.
No
probably
crits,
where my
Nasty
money
18.
Maybe.
Was getting
What?
some good iframes there on Eve Phase 1, but he's also going to be aiming to do Eve Phase 2 skip. He's wanting to slow down the boss enough so that way by the time the dialogue reaches a certain point in its track, the boss has not reached full HP. That is rather difficult to pull off. Wow.
Zero cycle.
Also
got the
going
zero
for the
cycle.
Zero cycle on core 2. That is amazing. And Kanaris getting phase 2 skip on Eve. That is a good amount of time save for Kanaris. BlueMetal getting chalked up on some of those electrical stubbies there. Kind of unfortunate, but we'll have to see how Kanaris does on Eve phase 3 here. He didn't have that much good luck last run, but we'll see how this pays out here. Having the spear is definitely a huge benefit this time around in comparison, because the spear at least deals more damage than punching, which is significant.
55 seconds.
Only level
by the way.
19
At the
though.
threshold, and he got it.
He got it.
Wow.
It doesn't take much for him to phase threshold Eve to phase 4, but Kanaris is a master in phase 3. That is amazing. Going into Eve phase 4 here for Kanaris. BlueMetal also trying to go for Eve phase 2 skip, trying to slow him down.
Come on, Blue.
To get his HP to stay not.
Eve's HP is going down.
I would like to point out.
We're ready.
That
All right.
Blue. All right. We have our champion.
Kanaris.
But I want to say something real quick. If you're a Blue fan, it's not entirely, you know, clouds and rain.
Where is Kanaris going?
Kanaris taking a trip to the scenery. Just gonna go admire these robots and this debris over here.
Guys, this is important though.
Either way, BlueMetal's in phase 3 here, ladies and gentlemen.
At 124. The second place is 125.45.
Kanaris.
He's gonna really want some good RNG. He's gonna want some good damage.
Winner, right here, guys.
Nasty
Get your
18.
congratulations out to Kanaris in chat.
No.
This is a clean
We've still got
2-game victory.
BlueMetal was able to get Eve phase 3 SD. That is still good going into Eve phase 4 here.
Yeah, if he gets really good RNG here, he could actually take second place, but he's going to need perfect RNG because that last scene is about 26 seconds long. And so if he...
Dude, Chad is going bananas here.
Oh my gosh, come on. Let's go. Blue
Go.
Come on. I want to see a new
closing out Eve phase
Oh my gosh,
4.
wait. That might be a new second place.
Oh my god. That's second place.
That's second place.
That should be second
Marbles
place.
has been botched.
Loadless time.
Oh my gosh, after 2 months.
125.45 loadless time is held by Marble Soda.
That's it.
BlueMetal might get this.
He got it.
Yeah,
it's 33.
It should be
20,
40.
It's 26 seconds, isn't it? Or is it 32
there
seconds?
We go. Let's get some claps up in the chat here.
Wow. GG's to both runners. There's a new second place. Wow. And Kanaris, obviously, our nasty 18 champion. But Blue, you know what? If I'm Blue, like, yeah, you can win the race, but you get second place.
Yeah, I mean,
that's incredible.
That gives you an idea of how crazy this race was, that Blue put up a time that is a PB for him and good for second place on the leaderboard, and it still wasn't enough by a full minute over Kanaris the Monster.
Yeah, Kanaris is a god.
And I mean that in the best way possible.
Insane.
All right, can we see? I mean, these runners might be pretty tired, but let's see if we can get them in here to talk about the race. We'll ask if they want to.
Hey, Phyllis.
What is up, guys? Congratulations,
on,
Kanaris,
guys?
on an insane back-to-back.
Thanks, dude. Thanks. That was That was really thrilling.
And, and if you didn't already notice, Kanaris, congratulations to Blue for getting second place on the leaderboard.
Yeah,
Ooh,
Yeah,
GG Blue.
I'm happy about that much. Thanks.
It's insane.
Oh
Yeah.
man, so much to talk about. So first, I want to back all the way up to race number 1 with
No.
the double simultaneous roller coaster failures. Going in to race number 2, were either of you having doubts about roller coaster?
With roller coaster on second attempt, no, because I went into it with a more clear mind. First race, I got tilted extremely hard by 1, punches, 2, where I broke muscle memory, forgot how to do Adam with slow-mo, and then just at that point, I just couldn't do it. So that's why I happened on the first race. I just tilted and lost motivation and degraded performance.
I think
This
both
one's
of you
definitely
guys
better.
on the first race actually managed to not get sword dodge skip.
Yeah.
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 Oh, jeez.
Dude, that was honestly seeing you get punches was heartbreaking because you were. Obviously, this is kind of me just like throwing salt in the wound, just saying like, but dude, you were killing it. Like,
I mean, speaking of killing it, Kanaris almost had an amazing prologue in the second race. You got
Yeah.
the God Laser in Silo 3.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was gonna be like a 14:05. But oh well.
But, you know, things
Race,
happen.
right.
But playing through punches, I mean, incredibly.
Yeah.
Just so tilt-inducing.
Like I was only 13 behind my PB after prologue.
After
Sorry.
punches prologue, being only
I,
15 seconds back.
one thing that
Dang.
I was curious about is like doing 2 races back to back takes a lot of endurance. It's hard. Like I know that I wouldn't be able to function. But for you guys who are like top runners, you like doing multiple runs. You like doing this kind of thing. I know that it was probably a bit more adrenaline inducing than normal, but did the second run, were you going into it thinking, all right, these are the things that I kind of screwed up on, let's do them better? Or was it kind of like you were holding some of the regret from the first one into the second one? Like, what was the mindset going into the second race?
I was
Yeah, definitely.
first.
It was just thinking, okay, I did this wrong in the first race. Let's fix that. Like I was mentioning with Adam 1, I somehow forgot how to do it with slow-mo. It started happening last night, and then that first race happened. In the second race, I'm just like, okay, you know what? Just don't slow-mo at all. I've been consistent like that, so there. Got past Adam without ruining it that much, thankfully. And then just getting roller coaster this time.
Yeah, I mean, crazy to look at. BlueMetal, your time in the second race, if, you know, things just worked out differently and you did that in the first race, that would have been good enough to end the tournament right there.
I know.
That, you know, we were definitely talking about Kanaris coming into this as a favorite, but it was far from a guaranteed thing
yeah,
for him
for
to pull it out.
Yeah, not
Really
gonna lie,
exciting
I
stuff.
had the Speed Gaming Discord open on one of my other screens. When I saw Shabu say Kanaris got some items from Roller Coaster, I'm like, wait, what? He failed it too? What?
Oh, sorry. I didn't
We
realize
were wondering whether or not you guys. So yeah, actually, were either you guys watching the stream? Did you guys know what position the other runner was in?
No, I completely tune out everything during these tournament races.
Yeah, I like keeping up with chat, so I basically knew where Blue was every minute or so. I got updates from chat.
It's an interesting dynamic about, you know, whether that affects your mentality. You want to go for something safer or risky and faster, depending on where the other runner is.
Right.
Yeah, no, well, going into the second match, I pretty much just said to myself, okay, you've got this, just do everything how you normally do it. Because in the first race, I tried to improvise some stuff like the fidget spinner on Shore Fight. I tried to do fullest strat for that for some reason.
For some
and it just
reason, you
didn't work
thought
out.
imitating fullest would be a good idea.
Hmm,
Shots fired.
Feels fullest, man.
yeah.
But we were
But,
even mentioning that
I
as
hope
well.
you're having fun in Sapporo, fullest.
But we were even mentioning that as well in that Kanaris, the way that you play is that it's very, like, as soon as you get warmed up and once you get going, like, it really ramps up your gameplay, and it really shows too, in that, like, just slashing off minutes of time that would otherwise be from spaghetti.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I really can't play when I'm not warmed up, and every time I spaghetti in prologue, it makes me tilted for the rest of the run. So if I go in not warmed up, usually it doesn't work out well, but in the race with Sheng, where I got this current world record, that was the first time I'd run at all in like the last 3 days. I didn't even warm up or anything. I just went straight from the main menu into the race.
Wow.
Sometimes going in cold works, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this run, not the first run though.
Oh yeah.
Your ninjas on the first run was crazy though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I kind of messed it up on the second one.
Yeah, a little bit, but
I mean, the both of you with the significant time from the first race, which was kind of great to see. I mean, seeing two people run a sub 126 at the same time is pretty much the best you're going to get in your speedrunning right now.
Yeah, I think we both did a pretty good job on the second race.
Watching two roller coasters at the same time.
Oh yeah, and we failed the roller coasters together in the first race, and then
We
got
failed them together and succeeded together.
yeah,
There was an
interestingly enough,
interesting duality
screw you,
between these two
Aspire.
runs here.
yeah, there was a very interesting duality where like Blue got punches the first time, and then you got punches the second time. It's like it was very much like the pendulum swings both ways, if you will.
Yeah.
Like Game Commander says in chat, all is balanced.
Yeah. So you guys know, I have 2 questions. You probably know them already, but I'm going to ask for each run individually. So for the first run, if you guys can remember it or distinguish. Ooh, words are hard. The first run from the second run in your brain. For the first run, you know, I like to get the bad part out of the way. Is there anything that you really were upset with? And I know that we've covered it a little bit, but just to get it, you know, that you were really upset with going into the second race. You were like, I want to fix that. I need to make sure that that's right in my brain.
Yeah, mainly just little combat improvisations. Like my total mentality going to the second race was just, this is a normal run. Just rely on your muscle memory and do everything how you normally do it. But in the first race, particular points were like a Surefight fidget spinner, like I said, and Eve Phase 3 was the most disgusting thing I've ever done.
Ooh, yeah,
It was horrible. Every time I chose to do something, it was the wrong thing to do. Every single time.
I felt bad for you.
It gave me flashbacks to the Ethereum Eve fight.
Oh boy.
Actually,
Oh,
yeah,
goodness.
there is a lot of similarities to that, because especially knowing when you've passed the SD threshold and whether or not if you actually want to go for it or not, because I know, Kanaris, your combat in pod launching and light attacking and plunging into Eve is very quick, it's very efficient, but it's that if you either go for that or try to SD instead, it's an interesting decision that the player has to make at that certain point in the moment. It's quite a tough decision.
Yeah, for sure. And actually the pod launch makes it really scary because you have to SD out of the pod launch before you hit him, otherwise he's going to get iframes right when you explode. So that's always really tense when it comes to the point where you're like, yeah, I think I can kill him with SD. Well, let's just go for it and try not to mess it up too badly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
I
was,
guess for me, for the first race, it was just a downhill thing from just starting with punches. Just my mentality kept dwindling as the run kept going. Is something we keep happening, and just I don't know what else to say about the first race other than it just kept going downward and downward, further and further.
Yeah. So obviously the follow-up question would be, what about the second race? Same question.
Well, so what went wrong was, like, a lot of the splits in that run had just one big thing happen that kind of it bugged the hell out of me. Like, prologue, for example, that one was not good. the incident in the forest where I fell and couldn't get back up. The one time I was hoping she would grab a ledge, and she usually never does. Or she does when you don't want to. Yeah.
What happened?
You know that weird-looking stone bridge thing?
Oh yeah,
The
one with
bumpy
weird
stone bridge.
terrain.
I fell, and I
no.
lost all my.
That was an
lead getting back up.
interesting. I had pointed out that it was an interesting recovery as well, in that I had never seen somebody jump up on one of the rocks that you did, Blue, and recover back up. Normally, other people who have fallen off of that that I've seen is just do a lift next to the stone sort of bridge structure area there.
Yeah, I just haven't fallen off in such a long time that I didn't know how to
Sorry,
quickly recover
there were
from it.
birds outside. I'm sorry.
It's crazy to me. I completely forgot about that. But that's so now second place in the leaderboard has just this massive chunk of free time saved for you, Blue.
Yeah, and that's not even the only spot either. Adam 2 was garbage. And then there was just some little sprinkles of time saved later on towards the end game. Like, what's his name? Bokushi really freaked me out because like he had his eye glow for you're hoping for the vacuum, but it glowed and he did this spinning projectile attack right when I already blew up. I'm just like, oh wait a minute, I'm not screwed, am I?
Yeah. Oh,
Ended up working out though, at least. But most of my time save is in the early and mid game. My late game was pretty solid.
All right, so then the obvious follow-up question, because we got the bad out of the way. Was there anything in the first race that you guys felt like, yeah, that was good? Like, smallest thing. It could be the smallest thing, like movement from one place to another. Anything that you just felt like, yeah, I like that. That felt good.
Off the top of my head, I don't remember anything specific. All I know is that that first race I managed to gold like 5 splits, but didn't get anything out of it.
Better sum of best.
Yeah, I'm actually down to a 122.58 now.
Wow.
Yeah. Finally broke it.
I think for me, Grun went really well, actually, in the first race and the second race. But the second one, I got 9S, which
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw.
It was a bit weird. I'm
Weird
not sure
glitch.
why I got it. But yeah, in the first race, Grun went pretty much perfectly. So I was happy with that. I don't know about anything that was actually within my control that went well. It was pretty spaghetti all over the place because I was nervous.
Yeah. Well, you seem to shake that off at least a little bit for the second race. Speaking of the second race, same question for the second race.
Roller coaster. I got roller coaster.
Yeah, same.
And I also remembered to keep my minimap chip so I could do Shabby Skip. By the way,
we appreciated it.
I'm just going to mention in the first race when I tried to do the fence skip, I've never done that before, so I was like, how high is this fence? I tried like 2 or 3 times to get over it. You know, the one that you're doing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we saw you just
we saw it.
get scared and go around.
Yeah. But I'll have to check that out just in case.
Well, for me, other than roller coaster, most of the stuff, like I was saying before, it's just end game went mostly well, and there were some splits here and there in the mid and early game that were like good, but then got canceled out by one significant spaghetti event that just got rid of that time save. But the end game for the most part was overall solid. I don't think there was anything significant that was really good besides just getting roller coaster in a race.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'll be interested to see your splits, Blue.
Yeah, let me
You'll
post
have
them real
to
quick.
compare them to mine.
Well, all right then. Should we go ahead and wrap it up? Shabu, Myth?
I think
I'm
so.
down.
If you want me to take this.
Yeah, I think you should take it, Myth.
So, I want to thank each and every one of us for being here tonight. Thank you, BlueMetal and Kanaris, for racing. These 2 matches were pretty dang bonkers, to say the least. And thank you to Game Commander and Shabu for being on commentary with me as well. And
pleasure.
huge thank you, huge props to the guys at, or to the guys and girls at Speed Gaming. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to show you guys the amazing speedrun tournament that we've had here for the past, God, like 2 months, 2.5 months, I want to venture.
Yeah, with
We've been here for a little while.
It's been quite a while,
Specifically, Fiesel and the rest of the staff. That's who Cyclone said we should probably thank for that.
Thank you to Fiesel. Thank you to Cyclone. Thank you to all the other volunteers at Speed Gaming who dedicate their hard work and hard-earned time to this. Without them, well, Speed Gaming would not really be much without them. So thank you. But more locally, if you're interested in learning NieR Automata as a speedrun, or even just casually, like, honestly, this game is amazing. And if you haven't played casually, then I would highly recommend it. And to be honest, it should really already be in your Steam shopping cart, and you should already be playing it right now. But we do have a Discord. We do have all our information posted, yeah, through the individual links through Speed Gaming, !NA, !R, !C for each of our individual Twitch streams, as well as our information. Discord.nierspeedrun.com is our Discord. Join it. Our community is really nice. But
thank you for that compliment, Myth. You're nice too.
Aw.
Speed is full of nice
Yeah,
people.
Thanks everyone for being cooperative during the tournament. It was really fun organizing it and running it. A bit stressful at times, though.
A little stressful.
Yeah, everyone on the Discord is very helpful and very open. Not too many people have a real like superiority complex or anything like that. Everyone is very willing to help you at any time.
Except for those damn right pipers, elitists.
The right pipers. We got a right piper on commentary.
Get him out. Kanaris, ban him.
Even all those guys can help left pipers. I will help any future right pipers who want to learn the run. Come right to me.
Kana, we can't.
But all things aside, what we've seen here tonight is definitely a huge taste into what the high-level speedrunning in this game looks like. It does look daunting. I know spear dashing is not the tastiest thing to be looking at. Roller coaster is not tasty to do at all if you mess it up, but if you do it, it's very satisfying. But lots of people are willing to help out. Lots of people are willing to put some time to helping newer runners learn the run. Definitely check us out if you haven't already. I think we're gonna call it a night. I think that will. Goodbye, everybody. So thank you again to everybody for participating in Nasty 18 NieR Automata speedrunning tournament year 18, well, year 2018. And I think with that, we'll call it a night. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by.
Have a good Father's Day as well.
Bye.
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 Later, guys.